approach him right now and offer him first, second or third, he wouldn't care. But there's that trusty tot.
Launch it up there and hope it goes. You're going where I want you to go, Mr. Dart, and it's a very strong, sort of direct throw. Rolands here. Ouch, ouch, ouch. What a shot.
Match point Sykes. Double 12. That's how you finish a campaign. But it is a gladiatorial sport. And that is a 12-darter for Marvin, who has rediscovered his bubble in the last couple of legs.
The action continues and the action concludes in terms of qualifying for Champions Night here at the Modus Super Series. It's Friday, which means the finals field will be filled at the end of the evening. 5 players battling it out for the final 3 places at Champions Night tomorrow. And we got a couple more qualifiers at the end of this afternoon session, which Paul Nicholson was watching. Paul, we'll talk about tonight in a moment, but this afternoon we really did have darting drama, didn't we?
Yeah, just a bit. First and foremost, I know that Neil Duff did not qualify, and he becomes the first person not to qualify for a Champions Night of people that have qualified for 3 Champions Weeks. So something that he didn't want to happen to him. But the way he fought and scraped his way to the very end to give himself a chance, I think we're going to see a lot of Neil over the next couple of weeks. But I think we should hold our hands up and say he put up a valiant effort, and he's just missed out. But Jimmy Van Schie, who had to win his last match to get through, averages 103.5 and wins 4-0 in his last game to punch his ticket to Champions Night. That was sublime on top of what was a very consistent Derek Coulson.
Yeah, let's talk about him first, because he was one of the outsiders in that group. One of the kind of unknown quantities this Champions Week, having won just last Saturday. He's carried on riding that wave. It was a pretty dominant group performance from him.
Yeah, he was always in command of it. I know that it's easy to say that, but when he was ruffled, he came back with some stunning darts. Scott Mitchell made a great point this afternoon that when people hit 180s against him, it felt likely that he was going to hit one back. And his ability to deflect the brilliant form of others and make himself look even better, it was all day, every day that he's played this week. And there's one day to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And he might get that winning feeling again tomorrow. 3 players then confirmed for Champions Night. Connor Scott won Group A. Kind of as expected, he is the favourite to take the title earlier in the week. Coulson and Van Schie through in Group C, as we've just spoken about. On to Group B tonight, Paul. Reflections on yesterday, first of all?
Great fun. Great fun. This whole week has been great fun, but the standard every single group has given us is enticing what we want from a potential Champions Night. So people stepping up last night. Rolands started well. Unfortunately, it didn't end well. But then the highlight of the night, Tom Sykes putting in that 113 in a bit, and the intensity of the players who desperately want to make Saturday night. We could see it, we could feel it, we could almost smell it.
Yeah, everyone's still in contention, but in Group C, as it turned out, the work that was put in yesterday had a big effect. Do you think that's going to be the same, and it's going to be enough to see the likes of Steve West and Tom Sykes get through, kind of whatever happens tonight?
Yeah, I think it probably will be. Steve winning 3 games out of 4, that's a great start. I think Sykes will probably feel better about his 6 points than Steve because of the way the night panned out. But the thing that impressed me most about West is that he didn't look like he was breaking a sweat. It's not like he was trying too hard, and he wasn't getting too disappointed with small battles being lost. And I think he'll come into tonight really fresh and ready, and that's a very dangerous mix.
Yeah, let's take a look at the table then. Steve West and Tom Sykes, as Paul just mentioned, both have 6 points. Marvin van Velson, a player we haven't discussed yet, sits right in the middle. Do you think that do you think we're going to see those 3 go through, or can Rolands or Paxton really shake things up?
Look at their leg difference, though. That's a real problem, and it really didn't help Neil Duff and his thought processes through the course of the second day in Group C. It turns out it didn't make any difference. It was about the points. But we'll talk about the points first. Paxton, who is very dangerous, he's going to need to have a really big night tonight. I think Rolands is going to have to be more consistent. So by virtue of what we've seen from Marvin this week, I would put him as favourite to get that third spot, if not better, because last night he bookended his night with 2 99 average performances. One of them lost, one of them won. So his standard is better than the other two.
Well, speaking of favourites, we've got joint favourites to win this group. They can't split Tom Sykes and Steve West. Do you think, based on performances last night, that actually represents a little bit of value for Sykes because he played with maybe a bit more purpose than Steve?
He had a big range, though. I think his bad game these days is approaching 90, which is really encouraging for his form going forward. But maybe Steve's consistency was just a little bit better, and his ability to maybe not show as much negativity as Tom last night is one of the reasons why they're tied. But I think it's really interesting that they're tied to be favourite to win this group, because definitively it was Mr. Sykes instead of Mr. West that got all the headlines because of the ceiling of performance.
If you are going to have a flutter, please do gamble responsibly. It's 18+, begambleaware.org. One last question, Paul. How important are these first matches? We're going to see Van Velsen playing Paxton in the opening game. Do these players at the bottom of the table have to get wins in the first games, if not the first couple?
The best way to communicate this is what's the worst case scenario. And for someone like Adam Paxton, if he loses his first game, it means there's a 4-point gap between the bottom two and the top three. Now, that can be bridged, but it's going to have to be done quickly. So as far as Adam is concerned, get off to a flyer. Take Marvin out, make things interesting, and plant that seed of doubt, and then we'll talk about the others later.
Yeah, should we stop talking for now and let them get on the stage?
Yeah, fair enough, I guess.
Right, let's get the action underway then. Adam Paxton, as we said, in action in the opening match. He was a bit of a Super Series fanboy before winning on debut here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, and we thought we might want to get to know him a little better. You just clap once.
Hi, I'm Adam Paxton.
What was your proudest achievement in darts?
I've had a few things I look back on across the years. I reached final development tour, semi-final of the challenge tour this year, but to be fair, I think the proudest achievement must be hitting the 9 darter at the ADC tour this year, along with winning on debut here, the greatest week ever.
What has playing here and indeed winning here done for you?
It's given me belief more than anything that I can actually compete amongst the best players without a tour card. It's given me the belief that I can take my game to the next level. It's really given me the belief and understanding that my practice game is, and my match game is, as good as anybody else.
What motivates you?
Just the will to be the best I can be, the best that I can get out of myself.
How would you describe yourself as a darts player?
Very level-headed, don't really give myself enough credit sometimes, but equally very confident and know what I'm capable of.
How would you describe yourself as a person?
A good lad. I'm a very approachable, kind, caring sort of person, and nice.
What do you love about darts?
I love darts. I live, breathe and sleep darts. In dreams, think about it all the time, so yeah, very big darts fan.
What do you hate about darts?
Not playing very well.
What would it mean to you to win the Modus Super Series Champions Week?
It would be the best achievement in my career, and really up there.
Would it be life-changing for you?
100%. It would take my game to the next level and give me the next steps in a career in darts.
And that is what the Modus Super Series is all about. Changing lives, delivering darting dreams. And here on the stage, a pair of players who could realise theirs in 24 hours' time. Marvin van Velsen, the Dutchman, had an incredible winning week. And he's put himself in a provisional position to make it through to Champions Night, along with Jimmy van Schie, his fellow Netherlands native who made it this afternoon. Adam Paxton, who now lives in Wales, originally from Coventry in England. Pac-Man looking to gobble up a few points tonight and shake things up in this group. This fixture was the last one of yesterday. It was won 4-2 by Van Velsen. You feel that Adam may need to take revenge if he is going to have a realistic chance of making it through. Jack Garwood, the referee, Paul Nicholson and Scott Mitchell are your commentary team.
Game on.
Thanks, Murph. It's time to find out the exact list of players who are going to be here tomorrow night. And in a little over 25 hours, we will know the Super Series 8 champion. That's exciting, isn't it? I'm speaking for myself. How about you, Scott Mitchell?
Do you know what? I posted about it this morning. I was that excited about 10 o'clock on my social media. We knew it was going to be a big day. Group C didn't let us down, and Group B with the games coming thick and fast,
97.
and so few of them. I think we're going to see some more of it. I predicted a 9-dart shootout this morning in one of these groups. Maybe it could be this one, but I think that's always going to depend on these early results.
Because of the complexity of Group B,
58.
this is already a huge game. We are at the halfway point, and if Paxton doesn't beat Marvin van Velson,
97.
there's going to be a gap of 4 points between the qualifying positions and 4th and 5th. So by virtue of that, Adam is not just playing for himself.
Adam, you require 164.
A win against Marvin would also do a big favour for Richard Rolands. And the one game that Paxton did win yesterday against Rolands was his first game of the evening. But this time he's playing game 1 to start instead of game 3. By the time Paxton is done tonight,
Adam, you require
the rest of the field will still have a game to play. So he's got to lead the field out. And that's the way to do it.
First leg, Adam Paxton.
Yeah, I was doing a bit of number crunching earlier, and I was just looking at yesterday, and 7 games went with the throw yesterday out of the 10 matches, and the 3 that didn't, those 3 winners were Marvin, Tom Sykes and Steve West. And if you look at your table, the 3 sat 1, 2 and 3 are those guys that did break throw and managed to win a game against the throw. So there's
100.
We know it's very tight there at the top. Can Adam go and break back again today and start his evening nicely? The man that lives in Wales but is English.
That really does sound like a can of worms.
121.
There's a few dart players who live on that
99.
English-Welsh border who get a bit of stick, don't they? Like Sir Jim Williams and Mark Webster, and there's a bit of banter about it.
Yeah, Jim Williams, quite rightly, deserves all he gets, the quiff.
108.
Oh, a bit of big licking there from Marvin. Expect him to go a little bit nuclear tonight because everything's on the line.
60.
You know, Ian Woosnam, Welsh golfer,
100.
lived in England. Lives in the Isle of Jersey now.
He was always getting overlooked, wasn't he, Ian Woosnam?
Yeah, he won a major in 1991
60.
at the Masters.
Adam, you require 144.
Paxton looking to double his lead.
60. Marvin, you require 40.
Don't expect Marvin to miss this. He was excellent on his doubles yesterday. He's been excellent on them most of the week. Particularly on this tops, but that's awkward now. That flight's in the way.
He's going to the right-hand side and then gets a flight on, flight out.
84.
Shot at ball.
51.
He knew exactly where that was going. As soon as he threw it, he knew it wasn't going to register. So Marvin has had a mulligan. That pause, is that a sign of him just following his process?
Game shot on his second leg. Marvin van
First
Velson.
leg of the night for Marvin van Velson, and you're getting stuff like that.
Third leg, it's Marvin.
He's not going to leave anything out there, that's for sure.
Game on.
I think that was more relief than anything. He was so far away from the double 10. I think I lived closer than that, and then to nail the double 5, that was some special dart, because when you miss by that far with your second dart, that takes some recovery.
Well, one thing we should do is commend Marvin on his level of performance in Group B last night.
108.
We should give them both a little bit of credit for starting with maxes in leg 3. Now that we're not going to get a 9 from Marvin,
58.
we turn our attention to the Pac-Man. He's not going to get one either. However, Marvin last night, averages of 99, 96, almost 97, 93 and 99. That was his night. He threw everything he
61.
had, and it was very impressive. But it was only good enough for 3rd.
Shows the clientele in the group, doesn't it?
81.
But that's a really tight range as well, isn't it? 99 to 93. That is 6 points. Really consistent, really reliable.
170.
And that is really, really good.
Require 147.
We've had highlights already
97.
in match number 1.
Marvin, you require
3 180s,
32.
a 170 approach. And are we about to get a 13 dart leg?
That's the cha-cha-cha across the hockey
Yeah,
and
so on a third
lovely
leg, Marvin Van
into the
Velson.
double 8. He was just trying to avoid those flights that were kind of blocking his dart sit up there and a little bit
Fourth
in the
leg,
way.
It's Adam to throw first.
But yeah,
Game on.
trying to keep himself calm. He knows this is a big game. He knows it's a chance to
59.
gap the top 3.
Big fan of the cha-cha-cha, by the way, Scott.
Well,
First time I've ever heard that on commentary. I'm a big fan of that. So over to the players now
93.
to maybe give us a little bit of a boogie when they go left for a double 8.
it's the way that they do it. It was definitely a cha-cha-cha. It was a
58.
couple of little steps and then, not that I've ever been ballroom dancing. I've watched Strictly though. It looks fairly easy, doesn't it? But I've also watched Ski Sunday.
Well, tomorrow's going to be Jimmy Van Ski
45.
Saturday. He's qualified after that ridiculously impressive last game,
100.
where he averaged 103.66 to get his way into a Saturday night, which is going to involve a jam-packed live lounge in Portsmouth, chock-a-block with Jimmy Van Ski nutcases.
97.
Pac-Man yesterday, he found himself in 5th overnight.
140.
He had averages of 95, 91, 85 and 89. I've seen groups won and dominated with averages like that,
134.
but apparently not this week.
Adam, you require 144.
That second dart really did have a
96.
chance if it caught
Marvin,
that
you
flight just a
require
little bit more.
132.
Yeah, and he didn't look nervous. He gave it a chance as well, didn't he? It wasn't a big snatch or anything. He just, it was a well-thrown dart, just didn't go to its desired location. And
76. Adam, you require 48.
Things are getting tight, but double 8 is
So on the
found
fourth leg,
with an
Adam
accidental
Paxton.
double-double, and we are tied at 2-2.
Fifth leg.
I think he enjoyed that. That was really funny. He looked over Marvin Van Velson as if to say, oh yeah, I just did that.
yeah,
I think he's a bit of a character.
100.
I think he is. It was a little bit of a, not friends.
Hello, remember me? Yes, we know who you are, Adam. We know exactly who you are.
125.
Adam's from Coventry. I wonder if he's one of Neil Pritchard's Warwickshire Army county team now. I wonder if he played for them. Probably did, and I was in the room and I've forgotten. So I'm waiting for the messages to come through now.
That was always going to be a maximum. He couldn't have placed those first 2 darts in that bed better than they were. And we've now got 5 maximums in 5 uncompleted legs.
100.
If this is what we're going to get this evening, you do not want to go anywhere. If you're going to make yourself some sort of beverage,
43.
get it done
Marvin,
quickly.
you require 81.
I'd say in about 2 minutes 40 during the break.
pretty much. 74 left. Turns into double 16. And that is a world-class 12 darter.
Marvin van Velson.
He was pushed by Paxton in leg 5. And yet again,
Sixth leg. It's
he
Adams
is
to throw
responding.
first. Game on.
Just what kind of effect has playing in front of his home fans in the Netherlands, in
174.
Rosmalen this year, done to this young lad? Because when he was here previously, he was good. But after that experience in the summer, or should I say late spring,
59.
he's come back here and he's a completely different animal.
It's probably belief, you know, that once you remember
43.
your first time on the big stage, Nico, and what you learned. It was a very fast learning curve that we were on back in our day because you didn't get lots of chances on the stage. So we had to learn, I think, a little bit quicker with less opportunity. And I've known Marv a long time, and he really has stepped up. But
140.
Paxton here is keeping him very, very honest. Other players would have broken by now with the way that Van Velzen has been playing, but Paxton is right there with him and just
57.
overtaking him in the
Adam, you
averages.
require 144.
The scoring in this game has been so outrageous. 5 maximums, 2 170 pluses in this
6.
leg. And Paxton is still not safe to take us all the way. He knows the severity of this situation. He knows he must win. If he doesn't,
59.
the best he can
Adam,
do
you
is get
require
8 points.
84.
And I'm not sure that's going to be good enough.
52.
That was bold.
Marvin, you require 149.
He doesn't think Marvin can take the 149.
And I think Marvin noticed it. I think Marvin noticed it.
170.
Oh, right on the wire.
Adam, you require 32.
Does your gamble pay off? Oh no.
24.
He
Marvin, you
feels the
require
pain,
32.
and Marvin can make it feel even bigger. For 4-2, and to make Rolands and Paxton real outsiders to qualify for Champions Night now, he eyes up 32 and takes it.
And the match, Marvin van
That was a
Velsen.
fabulous first game in Group B here in Champions Week. They knocked each other on the ropes, off the ropes, all around the hockey. An exhibition of brilliant scoring at times, backing each other up. But unfortunately, the gamble in leg 6 for Paxton didn't pay off, and Van Velsen was in position to get things done. So, after his 3 180s and 31% on the doubles, we'll give him a little bit of a roundup to that one. He goes to 6 points with Steve West and Tom Sykes. And in the next game, we are going to see Sykes against the darts against Richard Eric Rolands.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series on this last night of qualification for Champions Night in Series A. And Richard Eric Rolands, a Welshman, he needs to do what Adam Paxton couldn't in the opening match. He went down 4-2 to Marvin van Velson. Tom Sykes, a tough opponent in the opener here for Rolands. The World Seniors Champion of Champions semi-finalist earlier this year. Actually lost this match convincingly yesterday. 4-1 he went down to his Yorkshire opponent, who produced some stunning stuff throughout the course of the evening. In fact, posted the second highest average that we've ever had at a Champions Week. The 31-year-old from Castleford, he's been to the grand final before, and a win here will put him very close to getting there again. He only needs 2 wins to be guaranteed a place at Champions Night once more. And talking you through what could be the first step tonight are Paul Nicholson and Scott Mitchell.
Yeah, I think the gauntlet has been laid down for Richard Rolands at the start of tonight, because after winning his first game
First leg, it's Richard to throw
on Thursday night
Game
and
on.
losing the next 3, he's just seen Adam Paxton lose his first game from a similar position. I stress that if he has ambitions of making Champions Night in less than 24 hours, he cannot lose much at all here this evening.
84.
No, it's one of those, isn't it? He's fully aware of the
100.
situation, I'm sure.
No matter where you turn in a Champions Week, no matter what group you're in, don't expect any easy games. Just ask Neil Duff, who won 4 out of 5 this afternoon.
87.
And the one game he lost was to someone who only got 1 win in the group, and that was Thomas Banks. You're never safe until we see you've qualified. Tom Sykes knows that. He won 75% of his games on the first night. But he knows he's still got a lot to do. But by virtue of the fact that everybody did get points on Thursday night and the early hours of Friday, it means that if Tom or Steve West
58.
win 2 of their 4 games tonight, they are guaranteed to be safe.
$44.
And they will also know that as well.
So Rolands, who did win week 3, taking out the defending champion. I have a sneaky suspicion that if he's going to qualify
41.
for Saturday night, he's going to have his best daily campaign that he's ever had here. Because of who he's playing
125.
and the position he's in.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely, Nico. He's slow and steady, can win the race, but he's going to have to start hitting some of those trebles. And are we seeing a bit of a loss of line because he knows the situation
44.
so well? He was just overwhelmed, wasn't he, when he won his week and made it here to Champions Week. He just didn't believe that he could do it. And
105.
a very, very likeable dart player, Richard Rolands, and he would have learnt, no matter what happens this evening, he would have learnt a lot from being here in Champions Week.
I think that's very true.
He's only been sort of back on the scene really
Tommy
2 or 3
requires
years, and
70.
I had a long chat with him about it, and he's lived in Costa Rica for 20 years. And on his
Gates on
return,
the first
found
leg,
darts
Tom
again, and
Sykes.
it's been fairly successful for him. But Tom Sykes takes that first
Second leg, it's
leg
Tom to
against the throw.
First. Game on.
Sometimes Richard will kick on from something like that happening to him. He's a regular on the
60.
seniors tour.
Did you say that he lived in Costa Rica?
That's exactly what I said.
Oh, that's not just round the corner. Did he run into Paolo One Shop at any point?
No, I don't think they have Poundland or One Stop over there.
Very good. Very good. Well, Tom Sykes yesterday spoke
96.
with us at the end of his campaign, and he said that this fixture was the most difficult one because of the pace of the game. He's more natural when he plays against a West or a Paxton or a Marvin because the game rattles
60.
along. Whereas here, Sykes has got much more time to think, and that time to burn for some players is very hard.
80.
But it will be a good education because you can't expect to play every game in a comfortable way. You have to win when you're happy and when you're not as happy.
No, absolutely right. And it's something you start to learn. You learn to deal with.
96.
And you can't let things get in your head before you even approach the board against players like this. And sometimes that
95.
can happen. You can win a game, say a quarter final, and you can go to the board of a semi final, even locally. And, oh no, I've got so and so. He's beat me the last 2 times. His pace just don't suit me. And before you've even thrown a dart in that match, you can talk yourself out of it and give them a leg start already. And then these are difficult players for you to beat already without giving them a leg start.
Yeah, we'll get back to that in a second because I think it's a really good opportunity for people watching who are dart players themselves
57.
to
Richard, you
maybe
require
take a little bit
108.
of insight from ourselves as to what we would think in that certain situation. 108 is still possible, and it's open. Lost the line. Sykes looks up momentarily, and now he knows he's coming back.
92.
He would love to double his lead with a ton plus checkout.
113.
That's something we found in this game yesterday. And it was a beauty as well. 144 from
81.
Sykes.
Richard, you require 16.
This is for a break back. And with that marker, he should get it. Over adjusts.
Game shot on
But
his
adjusts
second
well
leg.
to the other
Richard
side of the
Rolands.
board. Now that point that you made, Scott, about playing people
Third leg.
that
It's
aren't
Richard's to throw
necessarily
first. Game on.
the kind of players that you want to play. There's a phrase in golf that says, this course does not fit my eye. You should then try and find a way to play it. I didn't necessarily enjoy
96.
playing Justin Pipe because he wasn't just really good. I had so much time to think. I could
85.
probably have done my taxes during throws. But I figured out a way to do it. It was the same when playing Richie Burnett. It was like playing someone who was getting electrocuted all the time. I just didn't look at him. I looked the other way. I looked at the carpet. You find a way.
100.
And when you draw these people that are going to be slightly awkward, you should say to yourself, this is a chance for me to evolve.
Yeah, I agree. And the 2 players in question that you mentioned, I used to love playing Justin Pipe. It suited me down to the ground. Now, Richie Burnett, I just can't seem to get near him, and he's still around. I wish he'd retire. And
97.
I end up watching him. I end up thinking, how on earth is that dart going there? How are you getting that to go with such pinpoint accuracy when you've just dislocated your
59.
neck and broken your hip to release the dart? And we find it, I talked to him about it, and we find it very much extremely funny, but that's how he's always done it. You look at the Chisnell throw and the lurch that he has with his. So, but I agree, it's players that
50.
that you don't expect. So that's the thing. It's very difficult once you get that negative thought about a certain player and you having to play them. A very
57.
difficult thing to overcome,
Richard,
and probably one of the
require
biggest things to
158.
overcome within darts, particularly if it's an opponent that you're regularly bumping into.
Well, Tom knew he was going to play Richard twice. He's got 1 win. If he gets another, he's going to jump from 3rd position in the table to top,
84.
albeit
Tom, you
with
require
Steve West
120.
having a game in hand. Does he get past that? Not this time.
100.
He can
Richard,
do
you
it
require 73.
because he's just showing you how he does do it. He just did it 1 dot too late. Keeping it simple. Oh no. That is something you just can't do.
You tend to, when
41.
the dart goes
From your
under your
required
target
20.
like that, you tend to have held on to it slightly too long trying to make sure.
Can he get past that dart?
10.
He had it surrounded.
Richard, you require 32.
And there was nobody home. And the mistake on the single in the previous visit, it might not burn Richard after all.
Game shot on the third leg. Richard Rolands.
A lead for Rolands, and this is proving pretty tricky for Sykes. The most
Fourth leg,
deliberate
it's
player
Tom to throw first.
in Group C
Game on.
won Group C. Coulson was very cool indeed.
100.
And if you didn't catch this afternoon's action, we do have a highlights package available on our YouTube channel. We had a really, really nice chat with Derek at the end of his campaign. And there is someone who is very pleased indeed to make Champions
100.
Night alongside Scott and Jimmy Van Skate.
And quite rightly so. It's a really good achievement. It's a really good achievement. I think any of us would have been proud of that and would still be. He played lovely this afternoon.
Winning your week is one thing. Coming to Champions Week and winning a group in that week
100.
is another victory in itself. Connor's got his victory this week. Coulson's got his. Who's going to win this group?
100.
What we will keep an eye out for is where people are placed in their groups over the course of the night. That will stipulate who plays who and in which group come Champions Night.
95.
By the end of the broadcast,
Tom, you require
we will show you the groups
161.
that you will see from 7:30 tomorrow.
137.
This game is following a very similar pattern to that of last night, or should I say the early hours of this morning, because the standard isn't great, but this is one of those workmanlike games that you just have to go through now and again.
82.
And do your very best to make sure
Tom, you
you're on the right
require
end of it as well
24.
is important.
Game shot on the fourth leg.
However, that is a
Topside.
world-class leg. A little bit more of that and Sykes might make it out of this game.
Fifth leg.
with another
It's
win.
Richard to throw first. Game on.
Oh, Tom's got a lot of people watching here, both in Portsmouth and from afar. They know what it's like to see him go through the Champions Night
100.
rigmarole and to make it to the championship match. He was never in front in that final game
97.
against Scott Taylor. I don't think he should be disappointed about losing that final whatsoever, because on that occasion he lost to the better player.
Yeah, absolutely. And he stayed with him as well. That was the point. He kept him honest, and
60.
it was one of those really, really good finals, very similar to the Cam Crabtree and Andreas Harrison, where
99.
Cam ended up losing that one, and he didn't lose it. Andreas went and won it. And that makes it easier to take.
Yeah, I remember the fourth leg. And he had a check out, which was 2 singles and a double. And if he didn't hit it, there was a chance for Scott Taylor to win 4-0.
135.
And he didn't allow him to do that. And he fought back as best he could. But if we may be really honest about Tom,
58.
since that night, he really has improved quite a lot. Maybe not from a performance ceiling perspective. I don't think he's gone up that much. I think he's become more consistent, which in itself is
45.
even better than having a bigger ceiling.
Yeah, agreed on that, mate.
93.
I do
Richard,
like
you
the pace
require
of
161.
some of these players on their meteoric rise, and there's just something about me. I don't want it to be too quick and too fast and too hurried, and the players are always going to want it quicker than it comes, but there's just a certain amount of longevity in my experience of the game over the last sort of 20 years.
Tom, you
Those
require
that do that lovely
154.
little slow step-by-step progression seem to be around a lot longer than those that have that
80.
sort of
Richard, you
rise to the
require
top
68.
through a lift rather than having to take it step by step.
Yeah, I see your point. Is Rolands about to go in front again? Double 16.
36.
Big chance this.
Tom, you require 74.
He broke in the first leg. Oh, that's a good miss. Now he's got options. Double 16.
Game shot.
That is a great shot.
Sykes.
Great shot. Look at that wink from Richard as if to say, yeah,
Sixth leg. It's
That
Tom
was a
to
good
throw
pick-up.
first. Game
he
on.
broke in leg 1. Since then, Sykes feels like he's been chasing this game a little bit. Now, after taking his chance, he can accelerate to the finish.
140.
Yeah, I think for that combination that he did there, hitting the 33, his dart was sat up, and I found it, you know, the 9 was the difficult bit about the shot. Getting back to the open target of the 32, that made life a little bit easier for him, but getting past that flight where
100.
his darts do stick up 65 sort of degree angle into the board, it was getting by that flight, taking the 9 route, but he did that comfortably and then polished off the 16
60.
nicely, and now it's momentum with Tom Sykes.
If he gets the 14, he's going 20 tops. Everybody knows that. But if you are going to miss the single 14 and the treble 14 altogether,
140.
at least by hitting the treble 11, he has the option of tops or the double 16. If he gets the single 11, he's got to go 13 bull. Makes the shot a lot
41.
harder.
Yeah, opens the board up for him, doesn't it, and gives him options. Sometimes once you've thrown a dart and you've still got 2 in your hands, you don't want to be thinking, whatever you do, you've got to make it clear in your head which direction you'll go in, be comfortable with that direction. Otherwise, we see that the next big number missed as well, don't we? And
84.
quite often we see that.
I think somewhat inadvertently, Scott, you've just quoted Zombie by the Cranberries for the second time today. In your head.
85.
I do like your taste in music.
Even if I don't know it.
Well, anybody's taste in music is better than Mark Webster's. The only person I know who's got Jason Donovan on his iPod.
He should be so lucky.
99.
We love him, really. And we have been celebrating Paul Hogan's birthday today. But unfortunately, he has left us in Champions Week.
65. Richard, you require 78.
He's possibly still celebrating it himself tonight.
I wouldn't be surprised. But in order to take us all the way... Now, we have seen this today from Neil Duff. From 78, he went 25 and bull, but he's got the bull too early.
$62.
Does he get a
Tom, you
reprieve?
require 110.
If he does, he could have the darts on the last leg.
78.
This time he does get the treble 14
Richard, you require
on
16.
74. $18 minutes this match.
Game shot on a sixth
And there will
leg.
be more
Richard
minutes.
Rolands.
And let us remind you as well that one of the games that Tom Sykes played last
Seventh
night
and final leg.
lasted
It's Richard to throw
6
first.
minutes dead.
Game on.
This is 3 times as long as that game. And then some. And he might still not even get the win. By the way, speaking of birthdays,
125.
For about another hour and 14 minutes on English time, it is the birthday of former World Trophy champion Peter Mation.
100.
Happy birthday, Mish. And a good friend of yours, Paul Carter.
Yeah, the Cannonball. We both made our debuts at Lakeside at the same time. From the same village. I've just sent him a lovely message on Facebook, and I sent it to the wrong Paul Carter.
Well done.
123.
Well, 2 treble visits twice for Richard. He's not celebrating yet, and this is why.
140.
He's got company. That first start in this final leg from Richard has been so pinpoint.
125.
But the third dart has not been great at all. He sits on 128 after 9 when in fact he should be inside 81.
He only uses an
57.
18-gram dart as well.
Richard,
And
you
he's
require 128.
quite a large fella. You know, he's a portly fella. Unusual that the bigger lads using a lighter dart. I suppose bunting's the other example. This makes it difficult now, this 128. Sometimes you're better off to miss that first treble because he has to stay there. He goes away from it.
I think he's played that
88.
perfectly.
With Sykes being on 204, no real desperation to
60.
have to get a dough
Richard, you
at
require
something
40.
in that visit.
Sykes is now staring down the barrel of defeat for only the second time in this group. The only other person to beat him was Steve West in game 2 yesterday. Does he lose his first game again? He does.
Shot and the match, Richard
That was a
Rolands.
great last leg from Richard Rolands, and he does what the Pac-Man couldn't at the start of Friday night. He gets a win, and he's now within 2 points of the top 3. So Tom Sykes loses, but still has an advantageous position over Richard, and he's going to have to utilise his 3 games remaining to try and bridge that gap between himself and Sykes. But now it's time to say hello to the 5-time weekly champion, that is Steve West. He's up against the Pac-Man, who's only got 3 games left to try and make his way to the top 3.
Welcome to the party in Portsmouth here at the Modus Live Lounge.
They've both got the talent where they can just reel off leg after leg and dish out a heavy defeat. And what a way to start the day. We're up and running here on Champions Week with a maximum.
Well, what a way to finish a 12-dart leg.
Beautiful check out there from Cam Crabtree.
Only
needs the one.
Game shot on the second leg, Darius
What were you
Lebanon.
saying about efficiency?
Game shot on the third leg, Reece
Is that
Robinson.
the moment that Reece Robinson comes alive in this crucial clash? Looks like he's going to go for it.
Game shot
And it is right next to his favourite double top. And he gets the job done at the earliest possibility. That is Cam Crabtree through.
Case not so.
Andreas Harrison.
Harrison gets the all-important win.
Game shot on the second leg, Darius Lebanowski. Game shot
Ross
on the
Smith,
leg,
is it
Darius
a
Lebanowski.
9? A long time. And that clenched fist.
Game shot on the
Oh,
mark.
he gets the job
Andreas
done
Harrison.
in the end. He's nodding in total
Game shot on the
agreement
second
because
leg. Game shot on the fourth leg,
Just
Darius
like that.
Lebanowski.
only needs the one. There you can see.
So that she can unlock at any moment. But that is quality from Harrison. This would be a wake-up.
Welcome to the party in Pompey. Should be a good marker for him, and is. It was a great guide.
Game shot on the first leg, Andreas
It's a
Harrison.
breaker throw for Andreas Harrison.
Game shot on the second leg, Cam Crabtree.
Consecutive breaker throw. Double 16 is found.
And he does lead.
The fifth leg. Game shot on the
It's not an
sixth
11,
leg,
but
Andreas
it's a
Harrison.
beautiful 12, treble 17, which he gets. Bullseye for the win.
Game
Absolutely incredible by Andreas Harrison.
He's Andreas Dirty Harrison!
Friday night at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth means one thing: Group B darts and the chance to make it through to finals night. But this week, it's not any finals night. It is Champions night that the players are battling it out for. And Steve West will feel like he might have a foot there already, while as Adam Paxton is tiptoeing precariously across the tightrope this evening, having lost his first game to Marvin van Velson. Really needs a win here against West, who has been there, done it, got the T-shirt, more wins than anybody on Saturday nights on the Super Series stage. The worst possible opponent in many ways when you really need to win, because defeat here and you can pretty much scrub Paxton out of the Champions Night equation. West with a win would edge closer to making
First
it
leg,
there
it's Adam to throw first.
and continue his
Game on.
pursuit of finally winning a series here in Portsmouth. Paxton, no margin for error now. I'm sure Paul Nicholson and Scott Mitchell will agree.
Oh, we do indeed, Murph.
60.
I don't think Pac-Man's got any wiggle room whatsoever. You could say it's like a video game where he's going down corridors trying to see what's left. Oh, that's right. That's like Pac-Man. And he's got no
40.
help. He has to help himself. And his points total is not great at 2.
76.
His leg difference is also a problem. So with what he's got left in West, Sykes and Rolands,
96.
he's going to have to go bananas from here, Scott Mitchell.
Yeah, he's going to have to pretend he's playing on that practice board and
60.
get some real darts out there, because you have to say it would be curtains if this one passes him by as well.
60.
When he loses to West, all he can do is get to 6 points, and there's already 3 players there. And Marvin and Tom have got to play each other. That means that someone else is getting to 8.
55.
And can you see Tom Sykes or Marvin not winning again? Absolutely not. So it's not just winning all of your remaining games for Paxton. It's
98.
a bit of a prayer as well that every result goes your way.
96.
And even when the results do go your way, it sometimes doesn't work out for you. Just look at Neil Duff this afternoon. He did everything right. He got opportunities, he took them, put himself in position,
37.
had a few results go his way as well,
Adam, you
but
require
unfortunately, he ran out of
154.
lives.
54. Steve, you require 170.
I've seen a lot of things this week. Big averages, lots of 180s. But we haven't seen a 170 yet.
And are still awaiting.
86. Adam, you require 100.
And another. That'll do.
Shot of first leg, Adam Paxton.
Pinpoint double top, double top. And a really good start for Adam. I'm sure he
Second
didn't
leg,
expect to
it's
get the
Steve
first
to
leg in
throw
21
first.
darts.
Game on.
But he seems to have caught West just a little bit cold. He's had a couple of darts at the treble 20 already, which have
60.
missed by a good inch and a bit.
$140.
This is going Adam's way at the early part of this match, and we did reference yesterday somewhat flippantly
55.
that as a darts match, this is kind of like Coventry City versus Tottenham Hotspur, like the 87 Cup final. We actually started watching a little bit of that
60.
back in our off time this evening, Scott, just reminding ourselves of that Keith Houchin diving header and the Gary Mabbitt own goal.
And the late, great Brian Moore's
108.
excellent commentary on the whole situation. Yeah, we did. I always feel when you play on in the number 3 position and you haven't already had a game and your opponent has, it's always a very difficult position to play, and then you have
138.
the disadvantage of not having the throw as well, which Steve West has.
97. Steve, you
can always make
68.
a little bit of difference mentally as well.
Seems to be warming up. And that will do very nicely. Does anybody do that better here in Portsmouth than Steve West? That cushion shot. He just sneaks it in
Adam to throw first.
by giving it a bit of a hug to the guide dart.
Yeah, I think you'd have to go a fair way to find somebody
60.
who did. I know I spoke to Westy yesterday about the particular flight he uses is not quite as stiff
45.
as his previous ones with a different sponsor, and he said sometimes it's very difficult to use the flight before.
81.
But I can't say that we've seen too much evidence of that over the last couple of days. It's worked like a charm.
108.
And once again, it did.
I think that's a great point you just made, somewhat inadvertently, Scott, because you think about some of the people who have had great success in this building. One thing that hasn't really been discussed at length is the fact that Steve West is a multiple-time weekly champion
135.
with 2 different sets. 2 different manufacturing deals. Neil Duff's used pretty much the same stuff the entire time. Jim McEwen's used the same stuff the entire time. But West has actually gone to a different company and he's still succeeding.
81.
Just goes to show that when he has darts made, he knows exactly what he wants. Ladder climbing time. There it is.
On a third leg, Adam Paxton.
This is a clinic on tops from Paxton. He's actually hit it 3 times for a 2-1 lead.
First. Game on.
He really is battling away, isn't he, to try and stay in this.
6.
And I know that sounds a really obvious quote, but it's quite easy for it, when it's not quite going your way, to get your head down. And Adam doesn't seem to be one of those players that allows that to happen too much.
One thing about Adam, I will say, is that he's very watchable.
108.
And he's not going to be intimidated by players like Sykes or West, Richard or Marvin.
58.
And we mentioned who he came through in his weekly win. Pound for pound, I think he had the toughest week.
36.
Any week that you have to go through Andy Bolton, that's bad enough. But when you have to go through the World Master Wesley Plazier,
100.
Cam Crabtree, the finalist from the previous series, and more, don't tell me Adam doesn't deserve to be here. He really does.
135.
But if he doesn't win this match, he's not going to be here much longer. And here we go again. Those 2 ideal darts in the 60. And he just lays the next one on top of it. This is a big shot.
60.
The line was good. He just wasn't close enough to the board to it. And by going left, you increase the length of the shot.
12.
He's been given an out.
So close with the first one, made that so difficult.
20. Adam, you require 12.
I think he meant to hit the single 10 to leave double 10.
Game shot on the
As a result of that miss,
Paxton.
and then the subsequent misses, Paxton is 3-1 up.
I was watching Paxton earlier, and we mentioned his shoes yesterday, didn't we? He's got this particular brand of shoe that has a diagonal angle on it and what have you. But while he was out there practicing earlier this evening, and I happened to be in there just having a little watch and a little chat, the shoes do actually have his name on them on the side of the toe, on the outside of the shoe, and they also have his nickname on the heel, on the outside of the heel. So they look a very
96.
jazzy shoe indeed.
Oh, Adam, you've just elevated your status to Roland Sholtonsville, because he used to have his nickname on his shoes as well.
125.
They were a great pair of shoes that Roland used to wear. Oh, look at those. Fancy.
57.
I'll tell you what I fancy even more, though. The prospect that after 3 games played, albeit with Paxton having completed 2 games tonight,
108.
we could have 2 players on 4 points and 3 players on 6 points. But even with a win,
98.
Paxton would
Steve, you
still
require 136.
be in the bottom position, having played 1 more game. That's why he's in so much trouble. And he hasn't won this game yet, because Steve West, with that 136, has just found a worldie of a finish to ask the question in at least like 6.
Game on.
And then he wanders back and gives you the impression that that's the sort of thing he's always doing nowadays. And you'd have a job to argue, because he is.
140.
He is playing that well.
There's a gulf between the averages, but it means
60.
very little. I've seen Steve hit 2 treble visits with bookmakers' pens. I've seen his brother throw nails and score 180s.
40.
It's in the genes.
Sure has, and
140.
both super talented players.
I'll tell you what Westy's done in this match. He's hit a sneaky 4 180s.
55.
He's still behind. Most 180s in a game by an individual player this week. 6.
140. 108.
There goes number 5.
Adam, you require 161. 90. Steve, you require...
Well, if Steve West takes this
86.
out and he takes us to leg 7, if he gets a couple of maximums in the last leg, he'll equalise the record. But there could be trouble ahead.
35. Adam, you require 71.
A chance to get points. On tops.
51.
And the one time
Steve,
he
you require
really
51.
needed it to cooperate to get the full stop on the match, he misses it by a distance. And
Okay,
West
so on a
doesn't
6
miss it
leg,
very
Steve
often.
West.
The tighter these games are, the worse it is for Rolands and Paxton, because their leg difference
7th and
is
final
so
leg.
much
It's Adam
different
to throw first.
to that of the
Game
top
on.
3.
So we head down the last once more.
140.
I've been down the last with Westy a few times. Haven't played golf with him for a while because he's been getting hip surgery, or as
100.
his wife likes to call it, his shark bite, because the scar is about as long as his leg.
100.
He was telling me all about the surgery earlier in the week. I'm really glad I wasn't eating at the time.
60.
Paxton is going to have a break after this game.
100.
2 games off, and then he'll be back against Sykes. he will know exactly what's on
60.
the agenda if
Adam,
that's
you
the
require
case
161.
post-win. He's left double 12 and he's got a score to settle with that double.
Right smile from Westy because he feels
55. Adam, you require 24.
he knows what's going to happen here.
It's
Game
just
shot
happened.
And the match, Adam Paxton.
And Adam wins the match. But what I will say is Steve West is still top of the table. The predicament for Paxton hasn't really changed. That's a vital win for him, but he's still 5th. And after 3 games completed and seeing that 4-3 result for the Pac-Man, very little has changed in the table. But what we now have are 3 players on 6 points and 2 players on 4. It couldn't be tighter.
Hang on a minute.
Wow! Oh my God! Well, that's £100 down the drain already.
Itching to hit the 180.
He's gone for the backside.
18 for the bull. Bull.
53.
No, he said bull. That's a great first start from Adam. Oh, look at this. He's going to leave Scape. Oh, can you believe it? That is unbelievable.
Yeah, match starts to put his team into the final. And through to the final they go. Charlie Murphy has hit the match-winning dart on both occasions. Double 4 for the title.
Please show your appreciation for the winner of the Influencer Pairs event, George Scaife and Adam Lipscomb.
He seems to be out, that's what he is, Charlie Murphy. A couple more visits yet. We're not going to need that.
Bosh.
Pie Face is through, he gets
And
there.
he's absolutely buzzing.
It was a game that Pie Face dominated throughout.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where things are getting a little interesting in Group B on this final session of qualifying for Champions Night. Look at that, just 2 points between all 5 players. Remember, the top 3 go through, so West, Van Velson and Sykes occupy those positions, but the 2 outsiders after the opening night, Richard Rolands and Adam Paxton, have both just won matches against the players they're chasing and are now within touching distance, 1 win away. Of course, Paxton has played 2 games already, so Roland's in a slightly more favourable position. He will take on Steve West in a couple of games' time, but right now it's Tom Sykes against Marvin Van Velson. Remember, 10 points is the magic number in this group. If you get that many, you are definitely through. If you get 8, you're going to have a really good chance. So victory in this one could be huge for either of these Arrows operators. And we've got 2 top operators in commentary as well. Scott Mitchell is alongside Paul Nicholson.
Someone's about to get to 8 points, Murph, but who's it going to be? And Tom Sykes, I'm sure, is back at the hockey now thinking, I feel a bit more comfortable with this game.
Game on.
He's arguably playing a better standard of player, But the pace of this game is definitely going to suit Sykes more, and he's got the darts as well.
123.
But like I said at the end of the last match, Scott, minimal damage done to the top three. They haven't really moved, apart from Marvin winning his first game against
140.
Paxton. The top three are still the top three. The bottom two are still the bottom two.
60.
But now that time is running out, these points, wow, they do feel big now.
Yeah, they are huge. And if Marvin can turn Tom Sykes over here,
59.
he will put himself in prime position and put Sykes back into the
43.
clutches of Richard Rolands and Adam Paxton. More Rolands, like you say, than Paxton. He's still got a game to play. Paxton has just got the 2
92.
to finish his evening.
$130.
He already looks more comfortable at this pace. Marvin will be slightly deliberate on approach in some visits.
100. Tom, you require 100.
But I do not see a great deal of stress in Marvin right now. And I don't see it in Tom just yet.
125.
Because I
Marvin,
think they're
you require
understanding the table the way that we
110.
are. The bottom two have got an awful lot to do with their points and their leg difference if they're going to catch this top three.
92. Tom,
Yeah,
you
the leg
require
difference
20.
is nearly worth a point on its own, isn't it?
Game
And the last thing Sykes needed there was an unsuccessful visit on double 10.
Second leg. It's Marvin to throw first.
He takes the lead
Game on.
in 18 darts. And what's happening tonight is what I thought would happen at some point today.
41.
The standard is not the same as last night because these guys have got every right to feel a little bit of anxiety about the fact that
84.
Champions Night is less than a day away and you desperately want to be part of it. Right now, you look out at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth.
58.
If you dropped a slice of toast on the carpet, you would hear it. Tomorrow, if you dropped a tray with 10 pints on it,
140.
you probably wouldn't hear it.
No, and my luck, it'd go butter side down, that toast as well. But you're absolutely right. It is two different atmospheres for the same stage, and that is another rare one in World Darts, that there's any stage that feels
84.
like that.
And when you've been there before, you want to go there again.
139.
Sykes has been there. West has been there. 3 players are already going there.
60. Tom, you require 138.
This was the biggest shot of the week from Neil Duff. He didn't qualify, but I'm going to stand by that statement that him hitting that 138 was the most
86.
impressive checkout of this entire Champions Week.
And yeah, I have to
Tom, you require
agree with that.
52.
We've talked about Jimmy Van Ski and his army of fans. Just let Dom.
20.
Another
Marvin,
thing
you
with having a
require
long point,
118.
you can put them on a pinhead, isn't it? And you don't always get that deflection that goes in. Marvin had a tribe here as well when he won his week. Double 19. Wow, Marv. What a save of throw that is.
Third leg, it's Tom to throw first. Game on.
A big exhalation from Marvin van Velson there. But the only reason he got that shot is because Tom
96.
missed double 16 twice.
Yeah, Marvin had a few in on the week that he won. His way coming here. Headed by brother
100.
Keanu. I saw them all here with their Van Velsen T-shirts on. They will be, well, they've probably had them in the wash today just in case they've got to make a fast trip over tomorrow.
Well, if they're coming tomorrow because Marvin is playing, Jimmy Van Ski's army is here.
140.
This place could be as tribal as ever. We've got English players
95.
through to Saturday night. We have a Dutch player through as well. We could get more English players and another Dutch player through. It could be like the Euros semi-final all over again.
140. Tom, you require 170.
I think it's going to be an amazing atmosphere tomorrow night. I really do.
130.
That's an amazing setup.
Marvin, you require 121.
This game is starting to churn. And I know you know a thing or two about churning, Scott.
96. Tom,
I
you
do
require
indeed.
40. Game shot.
Oh, that's more like it.
Tom Sykes.
That 13 darter takes his average up towards 96. Van Velson, who in this group
It's Marvin to throw first.
hasn't failed to average less than 93 yet, might find himself back in third position if he doesn't win this match.
132. $58.
You never know if Marvin does win the week. And we've been asking some of the players if this is a life-changing week if they win it. Marvin might buy himself a bigger watch.
I did notice that, but I wasn't rude enough to mention it. But yes, you're absolutely right. But then he does wear glasses, so he needs big hands on a big watch, I suppose, that you can see him. But I did mention his brother Keanu, who's quite an established player himself. He was a semi-finalist on Development Tour 13. And on that day, I remember he beat Charlie Manbeat in the quarterfinals on the way. So quite a player himself too. Did lose out in that semi-final, but there's said watch.
That's not a watch.
57.
That is a timepiece and a half.
It wouldn't look out of place on the roof of our building here outside for the passers-by.
104.
Have a little look out, but
Marvin, you require 138.
Sykes now giving Van Velzen opportunities, but they're big opportunities now, aren't they?
They are. You're 118s, you're 138s, you're 121s.
Tom, you require
Sykes
60.
is starting to boss the scoring stakes. Is he bossing the doubles?
40.
He's not.
Marvin, you require
Way too
56.
high, way too low. And when he turns around, his first thought is, don't you dare.
Make sure of the big 18. Clever move.
Game shot of four flag. Marvin
sweet
Van Velsen.
as just will not go away. Will Van
Fifth
Velzen.
flag. It's Tom to throw first. Game on.
The two saves of throws he had, the 118 and now the 86 on the ball.
93.
Why do I get the feeling that Tom is not going to do anything the easy way tonight? That game with Rolands, it lasted over 20 minutes. And he ended up losing
85.
it. The only upside of that is that he kept it tight. He only lost by one leg.
140.
He does not want to start tonight with 2 defeats.
No, he has to keep believing that he's doing the right thing. It's Marvin doing special things to stay there, isn't it, at 2-2, rather than Tom doing a great deal wrong. Yeah, he's had a couple of darts at a double. But that is the game. That's why we love the game. We don't always hit them.
75.
Now that third dart, he was just on the move a little bit, and that started to creep into his game tonight. I think he tried to rescue the dart, but it was already gone, and that's why it was so wild.
85.
People who flow the way that Tom does still got to be in position when you throw that third dart, the same way you are on dart number 1.
88.
And it only has to be a split second, a quarter of an inch or an inch move forward in the body. And that changes exactly where the hand-eye coordination has trained your dart to go.
Absolutely.
115. Tom, you
With
require
Tom, it's a slight sway
105.
from left to right. Tops.
65. Marvin, you require
He's had a pretty shaky relationship
116.
with that double this week.
Here we go with Marvin, and I go at the 116. Oh, double 18.
98.
Not to be this
Tom, you
time.
require 40.
I think Tom was holding his breath there. He thought that double 18 was going to be good.
Game shot
That
on
is-
fifth leg. Tom Sykes.
A sigh of relief from Sykes.
I remember back in the day when Shane
leg,
Burgess
it's
was
Marvin to
interviewed
go
over
first.
Phil Taylor, and when
Game on.
he beat him by a thumping result somewhere. It might have been at Blackpool, and interviewed Shane Burgess after the game.
45.
Yeah, Mr. Taylor gives you chances. 161, 156, 167. You've just got to get them.
96.
And it's a little bit of a similar way this is going here.
When you do those interviews, you don't understand at the time that they will still be quoted decades later. And they are.
100.
Particularly if they were a good interview or a nice interview, and it was put across in a nice sort of way. I think
83.
that was Shane Burgess at his jovial best.
I remember someone at the BBC, in fact, interviewing Wayne Mardle and Davy Richardson
100.
after they'd played at Lakeside. Mardle won that game comfortably, but they brought Dave in and asked him, is there any reason why Wayne can't win the championship?
60.
And I vividly remember Richardson saying, well, I don't see why not. He's full of confidence. And if you look at Wayne's career, was there a time where he didn't have that confidence?
100.
Absolutely not.
No, not at all. And actually, I've got a really close friend who used to play youth with him.
92.
And
Marvin,
he
you
said
require
Wayne's nickname
156.
back then was Mouth of the South.
All right. You were speaking about 156s, by the way, Scott. Fancy one?
120.
We've had plenty of them
Tom, you
this week,
require
courtesy of Crocodile
170.
Dundee.
I thought this was going to be a back at you type moment for
58.
Sykes.
Marvin, you
Van
require
Velson now at 36. Thought he rushed that dart last time round.
Game shot on a sixth leg.
The only way he's
Marvin Van
rushed that
Velsen.
one is he's gone from 7'9.25" into the 36.
7
and
from
rushed
final
into
leg.
it.
It's Tom to throw first. Game on.
Well, it is leg 7 again for Sykes. This time he's got the throw.
58.
Tiny signs of frustration, maybe. Starting to creep in. We are starting this leg with Marvin in second position
136.
and Sykes in third. Both positions will change if Sykes holds.
140.
One position will change if Marvin breaks.
Yeah, that's the advantage of the technology these days of our
34.
marvellous in-play table. As legs go on, the players jump up and down.
133.
That third dart, it did get an assist, but it's still brilliant. And for the third time in this game, he's left 170.
58.
And finally,
require
Marvin
170.
Van Velsen has had a non-treble visit. Sykes, will he go for it?
98.
It's the age-old question, isn't it? We ask these players for our TikTok feed and their quick-fire questions. If your opponent is not on a finish and you're on 170, do you go for it or not?
137.
We'll never know,
Tommy
Tom.
requires 72.
But what we do know is you want to get this. Double top. Sykes wins.
And the match. Tom
And that
Sykes.
means a lot to him because he's now one win away from qualifying for his second Champions Night. He's had to do everything the hard way tonight. But as far as his record against Marvin Van Velsen is concerned, it's healthy. It's 4-1 for the week. And he has not lost to Marvin since Monday. 4 wins in a row. It's got him to 8 points in the top of the table in Group B. And Marvin will have to settle for the same record after 2 games as Tom. 1 win, 1 loss, and now we go to Game 5, where it's time for Steve West to practice patience against Richard Rolands.
This is the Modus Super Series, and we are about to start Game 5 of tonight's 10 tungsten ties, and it's a meeting between Steve West and Richard Eric Rolands, who won his opening match 4-3 against Tom Sykes. Sykes has since gone on to beat Marvin van Velzen in a last leg decider and is tiptoeing towards Champions Night. He's just 1 win away. Steve West is 2 wins away. Richard Rolands himself, he's actually 3 wins away from a guaranteed place at finals night for Series 8. So it's kind of in their own hands still for both of these players. But a word of warning, Steve West was the one who had the least trouble with Richard Rolands last night. Didn't affect him at all, the pace of play. He won the match 4-0, and a repeat result here will see him put a foot in Champions Night.
First leg, it's Steve to throw first. Game on.
Scott and Paul will talk you through the game.
Yes, we will. Thanks again, Chris. And yes, Steve did win with minimal fuss. Rolands didn't really show up. West didn't really have to.
125.
His worst average of the night, but it still yielded the best result. I was just saying off the air to Scott, that result between Sykes and Van Velson actually was bad news for the chasing 2 of Rolands and Paxton, because every game that goes that tight, it means there's going to be no difference in someone decreasing their leg difference, so they're catchable.
60.
And I've just done a little calculation of the head-to-head record of the week between Van Velson and Sykes. They've played 34 legs against each other this week. Not only has Tom Sykes won the last 4, but he's won them all 4-3. So it's 18 legs to 16 for the week between Van Velson and Sykes.
60.
They may even have to play again. Possibly twice on Champions Night. This is a test of patience, and if you'd like proof of that,
58.
Sykes averaged nearly 94 when he felt more comfortable in the previous match. Against Rolands, it was 7 points less than that.
135.
I'm not sure what Richard Rolands did there with his last visit to leave 163.
$59. Steve, you require 121.
Yeah, I don't think he was counting very well on that one. That was human error. That was almost human brilliance.
75. Richard, you require 104.
One thing Richard did very well when he was playing against Sykes earlier, he was dogged. His doubles were excellent at 50%. And that's what we're seeing tonight. And through this group. Don't watch Steve. He's gone the reverse route. 4 first. 62nd.
64.
But no tops
Steve, you require
as an end product.
46. Game son of first
Nothing
leg,
silly from
Steve
West there. Some people will go for that centre wire between the 6 and the 10, but he was
Second
positive
leg,
to
it's
say,
Richard
no,
to throw
6
first.
tops is what I'm after.
Game on.
And 6 tops was what he got.
You might say that Steve plays the same way as James Wade. He doesn't get bored with hitting tops.
100.
He's almost cutting the board in half. He doesn't necessarily want to use certain doubles because he wants to leave tops. He wants to leave 10s. He wants to leave 12s. He doesn't mind leaving double 16 and double 8, but he will spend a lot less time down there. And someone else who does that a lot
83.
is Gezi Price.
Yeah, he sure does.
$100.
If that wasn't a ton, there would have been some sort of behavioural issue from Steve there, as if to say, why? His ability to have darts around that treble 20, it's just been incredible the last couple of weeks he's played here.
60.
And for someone who's coming back from injury, I have the feeling that he's way ahead of schedule.
Yeah, when you talk to him, I think he's very pleased with how it's going. I think, like you say, it's got to be difficult. You know, we hear of people having these types of operation, and some recover quicker than others. And with Westy, he seems to be
58. Steve, you
being
require
on the right side of it. And at the
121.
moment, you have to say, it's not affecting his game too much. And with the form that he had going into the operation,
81.
didn't need to go for it. Sensible setup play.
There's a case that if West qualifies tonight and has a very good 24 hours after it, this might just be the best summer of his life.
96. Steve, you require 40.
We'll get on to that. He's got tops on his mind.
20.
Maybe that
Richard, you
second
require
dart was just a little
104.
flat. And he just tried to feather that third one, and he didn't give it enough. And it's 104 again for Richard. That's a lovely life for a 54. His leg difference starts at -7 at this point. Things are getting
72.
drastic.
Steve, you require 20.
If they miss, your job is to make them pay. Double 7.
Game shot on a second leg. Steve West.
Take it and run.
Absolutely. Has a right go at that first dart, as if it's the dart's fault.
Third leg. It's Steve to throw first.
Thank you, dart
Game
number
on.
2. You were in double 7. Well done, you. But you over there in the 6, you're getting it. And that's exactly what happened.
He looked at that double 10 like it was an Arsenal fan.
140.
He is a very, very big Spurs fan, is our friend Steve West. He got his own back on the red and found double 7 instead. But now there was a risk that West could beat
59.
Rolands 8-0 over 2 nights. And that would be catastrophic for Richard. He has 2 games left after this. He's got Paxton. That's obviously a must-win game, no matter what happens here. And he's got MVV in the very last game. And there's every likelihood that things will be sewn up even before that.
80.
Well, I don't know what happened to that third dart. It did a triple axel on the way to the floor.
Yeah, Westy being a big Tottenham fan won't know that the Celso was just signed. Now the transfer deadline day has arrived, and the deadline for Premier League teams has happened tonight at 11 o'clock, but he won't have seen that the Celso has left Tottenham and signed for Real Betis.
100. Steve, you require 161.
Looking at him at the back of the stage, I think he's only got one thing on his mind. It's something that the Bay City Rollers sang about. Something called
55.
SATURDAY. But we are not going to have any Scottish representation in this Champions Night. But they do have a champion in Jim McEwen from Series 5.
106.
Everything is going West's way here. Everything.
54.
And just like last night, the resistance coming back from Rolands, it just isn't quite enough.
He keeps finding himself sort of a dart behind, doesn't he? Rolands. Surely down to treble 19 now.
137.
Pressure asserted.
You require 52.
Every game we've had tonight has been very close.
$42.
This might still be
Richard,
close.
You require 40.
He's only 2 from 10 on doubles. Is that man right there? And that will not please him one little bit.
Sometimes you can have too much time when you're sat there going for doubles and your opponent is not close. Sometimes you don't get opportunities at doubles, and when you do,
Game shot on the
you
third
fluff
leg.
your
Richard
lines, and
Roland.
he fluffed them for 2 darts. Nailed it with 1.
Fourth flag. It's Richard to throw first. Game on.
The old chestnut, he didn't know it was his throw as well. Love it.
Richard Rolands has played a certain Robert Thornton in World Seniors and broken his heart.
100.
Thornton's probably watching this thinking, come on, Westy, get one back for me, will you? Because Steve and Robert are very close friends. If you're watching, Robert,
60.
we hope you're well. Love to you and the family. And to everybody watching on the Modus Super Series YouTube channel, thank you for your company, not just tonight, but all week long. We hope you're enjoying the action because we
96.
are. And we're looking forward to Saturday night. 7:30. Mark your calendars. Wherever you are in the world.
17.
7:30 British Standard Time. You do not want to miss tomorrow night. It's going to be sensational.
No, you do not want to miss it. As us farmers would say, it is going to be a barn burner.
100.
Sounds quite counterproductive, that, doesn't it?
Oh, it means it's going to be out of control and off the scale. That's what it means.
Now I'm getting it.
60.
But West isn't getting it. Only 3-6-4 after 9. What could have been 3-0 might be 2-2.
55.
That's a brilliant visit. Unfortunately, even with another 60, he wouldn't have left a finish. So nothing to get into a great big tiz about. But Rolands is doing exactly what he did to Tom Sykes earlier. He's picking this game apart deliberately. And I don't know about you, Scott. I don't know if you've tried these flights. These sharp-edged
85.
Sigma flights. I couldn't stand them when I tried them.
To be honest, I've never really tried anything other than a standard shape.
80.
So I'm one of those that very rarely
65.
changes anything. I tried the slightly smaller standard size. Didn't work for me, so went back to the bigger ones. But yeah, no, these flights are something I haven't tried.
How about tops?
45. Steve,
West
you
does have
require
a chance to lead
164.
by 2. But it's a very big ask.
$95. Richard, you require 20.
Double 10. Aiming from the left-hand side of the oche. Down the right eye. He's not going to move. Look at the cushion he's got from those 2 darts.
No score.
And he hits them too hard.
Steve, you require 69.
Thing is, if he goes over the top and hits the flight, it's going further away. If he catches the left side, he hits it.
45.
And more chances slip by
Richard,
for
you
West.
require
He could have won
20.
this game by now. This is where you have to breathe in and realize, I'm going to have to win this the hard way. It's not going to be easy. Is it 5-5 again for Rolands? It isn't. A chance
16.
is right
Steve, you
in front of
require
West to get
24.
to 3.
No score.
My word.
Richard, you
It
require
just goes to show
4.
the best in the business here at the Super Series, even they are susceptible to tension.
No matter what happens from here on in this game, I don't think these two are going to be wanting to have too much of a look at their double stats.
On the 4 flag, Richard Rolands.
Yeah, let's just emphasize that, because Steve is 2 from 15, Roland's 2 from 12.
5th flag, it's Steve to throw first. Game on.
If this was a race, it's in the mud, uphill. But don't let it fool you that it's not important.
57.
It is vital. If Rolands wins, he goes to 6 points alongside Van Velson and West. There's only one person right now who's got a little bit of stress-free action, and that's Sykes.
59.
Yeah, for Tom Sykes in the players' room, this will feel like a proper break. Even though there's only been one match between games.
100.
I've just been reminded, in fact, that Richard Rolands, when he did play against Robert Thornton at the Champion of Champions, he won 10-9 by winning the last 5 legs. So he is someone who can pick you apart slowly.
45.
He'd end up losing to Andy Hamilton in the semi-finals by 13 legs to 11. And that tournament was won by a certain Richie Howson, who Steve West beat
40.
in the Week 11 final.
140.
Just had a little bit of breaking news, in fact, from the amateur darts circuit. There was a belt match tonight between Tony Wood and recent combatant
44.
and Group A winner, Jamie Owens. Jamie is the new Northeast champion. And sealed a return to the Modus Super Series in the next series. So congratulations, Jamie. Commiserations to Tony,
140.
who's held that belt for a while. The ADC have had such a big footprint in this series, and the ADC, it is what's given Steve West
60.
a bit of a second
Richard,
home after losing his tour card.
117.
But I don't want to reiterate that word losing at this point, because nobody's losing after this leg. But West really is feeling like he's in quicksand right now.
$42.
It's a brilliant 140.
Richard, you
They've
require
both got 4 in the
75.
match now. As for what happens next, your guess is as good as mine, because the doubling, like Scott Mitchell said, it has not been good at all. Double top for a 3-2 lead.
35. Steve, you require 60.
Tight arm there from Richard Rolands. Definitely on the last dart, I'd say.
I think Steve felt a little bit uncomfortable during that Eric Rolands throw, and he was just apologising that Richard had to suspend his throw. And it's right in the corner as well.
Steve West.
Wow, that only just made it.
6th leg, it's Richard to throw first.
Yeah, Westy was
Game
there
on.
trying to hold a cough in, wasn't he? And an attempt to try not to cough at all. It made life a little bit worse, but
He doesn't look particularly comfortable at the back of the stage. Maybe the best thing to do is to wait for this visit to finish
58.
and then just let it out. It's absolutely the right thing to do there. I've always said, beware the wounded dart player. When they're wounded, or if, for example, if they
93.
need the use of the facilities but the game isn't finished yet, they still find a way to win. I remember Dimitri Vandenberg beating Dirk van Dijvenbode in a final in Niederhausen.
140.
As soon as he hit the last double, he ran to the bathroom.
$140.
And this is going to be the second game tonight with Richard that has lasted 20 plus minutes. Super Series darts in any group is a discipline in itself.
134.
I think the people that are playing Richard would say that playing Welshie is a discipline also.
it's just the way he plays. But yes, he definitely gets his value for money.
You know how when you go and play snooker at the local club, you've got to put coins in the machine to keep the light
57.
Now, Richard Rolands is one of those that says, look, I know I'm deliberate. I bought the coins for the extra
81.
lighting that we need. He's a nice fella, Richard.
He does strike
really
me as
is.
that kind of guy.
He really is. Lovely, lovely man.
Richard, you require 112.
Can he find the treble 20? There's your answer. Double 16.
Game shot.
We're going the distance.
Richard Rolands.
Things are getting very, very tight now.
7th
But because this game, yet again,
Game on.
is going the distance. It's going to be the 4th game in a row that goes to leg 7. This isn't good news for Rolands and Paxton, because that leg difference buffer that West,
121.
Van Velson and Sykes have, it's still going to be there. But the one thing that can change in the next 501 points, it is Richard's points total. At the halfway point of the night
51.
and the 3/4 point of the group, he could have the same points total as West and Van Velson with 2 games left.
140.
You know, I use a little highlighter pen here on my little stats, and my little highlighter has just highlighted to me that all 4 matches have gone with the darts, if that's any indication of where this one's going to go that we played this evening.
96.
A lead of 114 and still has the throw.
95.
That is a massive last start. We know that Richard can't leave a finish no matter what he does. So West has got 2 visits to take care of 145 points and get rid of Richard for now.
140. Steve, you require 145.
Rolands had 180 in his mind there and is disappointed at the last start, but
57.
Every time you get a troublous visit in that spot, you are inviting your opponent back into the leg.
so far Richard is accepting the invite. Treble 18, surely the shot now.
124.
Oh, that was a Jockey Wilson special.
Require 88.
Is this a Steve West special?
Game shot and the match, Steve West.
It was a long game. It was almost 24 minutes, and Steve West runs the gauntlet against Richard Rolands and wins. A very different game to what they had in Game 6 last night, where West won by 4 legs to 0. This time, it is 7 legs, and West does prevail. And he goes back to the top of the table, and Rolands stays in 4th. There are many things to talk about when we come back, but we are now at the 75% point of Group B.
Fabulous start from the young man. World Youth Champion. What a response that is from his father. Back-to-back 140s. Siding leg of 7. My goodness, back-to-back 180s. Well, we've seen 2 9s in last year's Modus League. Seen a couple of 10s. Not seen a 9 yet. In the Online Darts Live League. Double 19. Double 12 for the 9. And he gets the 9. What a way to win.
B would be a contains the 5 players. 3 progress to Saturday's final.
60.
Of course, that emphasis is on qualifying for Saturday night's final.
Because the the runner-up, and the winner of the 3rd and 4th place playoff will get their crack at Champions Week.
180.
Trying to get their hands
at £7,000 first prize.
45.
Some of you on the forums earlier here.
180.
Oh, welcome back, Martin.
Where have you been? Where did you go?
100. Martin, you require 141.
Double 12.
Game
Absolutely
shot leg.
outstanding
Martin
from
Adams.
Martin Adams as he hits a 9-darter.
Welcome back to the live lounge in Portsmouth, UK, where we've been getting through the legs tonight, that's for certain. The games so far have all gone the distance, apart from the first one. Marvin van Velsen got a 4-2 win against Adam Paxton. Since then, every single leg possible has been played, and every single match has been won by the player who had the darts in that decider. Rolands over Sykes, Paxton over West, Sykes over van Velsen, and then West over Rolands. That means that we now know that at least one of Steve West and Tom Sykes will go through, because they still play each other tonight. One of them will get to 10 points as a minimum, and one of those two will be in finals, if not both. Marvin van Velsen in a good position. Richard Rolands needs to get that leg deficit down and pick up some points as well. And Adam Paxton in a perilous position now ahead of his game against Tom Sykes. And we're going to find out a couple of things in this game, whether it's going to carry on, whether Sykes and Paxton are going to wait and Sykes is going to still be catchable and Paxton will still be in contention, or victory for Sykes here and he qualifies for Champions Night, defeat for Paxton, and because of that horrendous leg difference deficit that he's struggling with at the moment, he won't be able to catch up to anyone even if he wins his final game. So if Sykes wins, he's through, Paxton's out. It's a knockout game in a way, and Paul Nicholson and Scott Mitchell will guide you through it.
Happily as well, now that 5 games are done. And it feels a bit like deja vu, Murph, because yesterday
100.
in our first 5 games, exactly the same happened. 5 games, 5 holds,
96.
and 5 players on 2 points. However, the situation is very different, because Paxton
60.
is in all sorts of bother. At this point yesterday, he was very much in it. In the next 10 minutes, he could be very much
59.
out of it. It feels like Tom Sykes is somewhat outnumbered on the stage, though, Scott Mitchell, because it feels like it's Tom versus Adam when Adam is on the back of Tom's shirt.
Yes.
100.
And we have seen some social media activity tonight, in fact, from people involved with these players, and they had a photograph together. And I'm talking about Adam with the back of Tom's shirt.
Yeah, it was something I mentioned last night. Why has Tom got a picture of Adam on the back of his shirt?
96. Adam, you require
Seems to have
24.
gone a wee bit viral today.
Game shot on the first leg. Adam
Others
Paxton.
here within the building has picked up on it.
Was it me that said 10 minutes?
Second leg. It's Tom to throw first.
I meant to say 6.
Game on.
Because that first leg took 1 minute and 11 seconds. Well, maybe this is where this group goes into
100.
overdrive. Adam Paxton's not really got anything to lose now. He knows if he has to win his last 2 matches.
134.
And he's just got to hope he's got enough in the tank.
81.
But Sykes is in that position where he knows if he wins this game or the next one, he's going to be safe.
57.
But if I may be frank, he's playing Paxton, he's playing West. There's no guarantee at all that he gets any more points.
100.
Yeah, that is a more than valid point as well.
140.
There is still work to be done here.
But if he wins the games, he's through.
Adam,
if
you
he
require
loses the games really
170.
tight, he might still be through. Hold on.
145.
Oh, very close.
Tom, you require 120.
They've both had really good shots at 170s in this group. Sykes needs tops.
Game shot on the second
That's what he
leg.
gets.
Tom Sykes.
That 15-darter backs up the 13-dart start from Paxton.
Third leg. It's Adam
And
to
the
throw
Ginger
first.
Army on the stage
Game on.
are running wild. What is it about Ginger dart players at the minute?
60.
They're doing great stuff on the Super Series stage. Tommy Lishman with a 9-dart leg. Sykes winning weeks.
100.
Paxton joining everybody. Chris Gilliland not getting mentioned as a Northern Irish great dart player today. That was on me.
Don't worry, I sent him a message and said it wasn't me, that was him.
100.
So don't you worry about that. I got myself right out of it. Save yourself, I said. Save yourself, and I did. But yeah, no, absolutely right.
140.
I think it's really fashionable to be ginger at the minute. Should have renamed that Beatles song.
Yeah, Steve.
Strawberry Blonde Fields forever.
97.
If it's really trendy to be ginger at the moment, we got one down in Dorset, Steve Early. He'll be over the moon. That'll be music to his ears.
139.
Oh, that's a worldie of a 140.
62.
All 3 points glued together. But it's double 16.
Game shot
And there's a rhythm about
Adam
this
Paxton.
game that you just can't take your eyes off. Another 15-dart leg.
Fourth leg.
And
It's
even
Tom
if
to throw
Paxton
first.
has left himself with
Game
too
on.
much to do, I am sure he's going to be part of Series 9.
140.
And we take him seriously. There are people laying the groundwork
100.
for others, and they don't even know it. Maybe what Sykes was doing earlier this year, and towards the end of
100.
last year, in fact, he was inspiring the likes of Paxton, who has been noted as a Super Series fan.
57.
It's maybe lit the torch for the ability of these players going to ADC darts and qualifying for things like this.
140.
Yeah, very much so. I think there are a lot more people join in at certain points of the day.
140.
Have a good look at the Super Series here.
Tommy require
Free
121.
to air YouTube. Then give credit. I know I do.
65.
On a lunchtime, sometimes I come in from work and have my lunch at lunchtime and join in on a Thursday and Friday.
60.
On Group C.
Tommy require
Take it all in.
56.
Tops again.
Game shot on the
He
fourth
just looks a
flag,
bit more
Tom Sykes.
purposeful when this game is rolling along at this sort of pace. And around about
Fifth flag, it's Adam to
this
throw
time,
first.
last
Game
night, it's where Sykes went just a little bit crazy against Paxton, putting in that 113.43 average. That game that I like to call an everything bagel. He wins 4-0, and he gets
41.
everything involved. Ton plus finish, 180s, massive average, 4 out of 4 on the doubles. One of the games that you rarely
58.
play, but you can't wait to tell people about.
139.
And it's going to remain the second best average in Champions Week history for now.
100.
The record belongs to Littler, just shy of 114.
97.
And the Saturday night record, that belongs to Littler as well. Over 117.
100.
Yeah, special times
85.
in those moments at
Adam,
the
you require
end of last year, wasn't
158.
there?
Each week that we get,
Tommy require 139.
we must remember it and think that we are lucky to have these players with us. It's going to be a 17 to leave tops.
99.
And Paxton,
Adam,
who has done this before
100.
tonight, might be looking for 2. It's only 1.
80.
He doesn't find it this time.
Tommy require 40.
And by virtue of this game getting very, very close, he's very close to the
Shot of
exit
fifth
door
flag, Tom Sykes.
because that leg difference is popping off the page.
Yeah, you're absolutely right what we say about the Super Series. It's
Sixth flag,
great
it's
to have
Tom
some of
throw
these
first.
players here because
Game on.
come the end of the year, it is a little bit like the Premier League transfer window, isn't it? Some will depart and say goodbye and probably get their tour card, who have been competing here, but then at the same
93.
time, one or two drop off the Pro Tours, and we welcome them with open arms to come back and join the Super Series once more if they've been
48.
here before, and if not, come and experience the Super Series Live Lounge for yourselves.
108.
Well, Tom Sykes has made a home for himself down in Portsmouth. He's getting to know the journey down to the South Coast very, very well.
180.
Somebody get Jack Garwood a throat lozenge.
42.
He's called 3 maximums in this game. In a previous game with Paxton, he called 6.
60.
Some players like Sykes, they love playing
96.
here, but they have very lofty ambitions. And that might involve not playing here. Maybe even ever again.
139. Tom, you require.
But his match
90.
point Sykes, this is to put him through and to put Paxton out. He's already had a dart for it.
82. Adam, you require 74.
Paxton for the break, 2 at double 16.
42. Tom, you require 8.
I think we see from the reaction what he thought of that.
Twos.
4.
Multiple visits now
Adam,
for
you
Sykes.
require 32.
Paxton somehow is pulling a duff. He's still alive.
$16.
But it's just inching
Tom,
away
you
from him.
require 4.
He wanted that so bad, didn't he?
Tom
shot
Sykes
and the match.
has
Tom
qualified for the Champions Night. And by virtue of that one, he has sent the Pac-Man gone. It's disappointing to see Adam leave us. He has got one more game to go against Richard Rolands, who was definitely going to have to win that match to stand any chance. But in Group B, if you get to double figures with this dynamic, you are safe. And Tom Sykes is going to his second Champions Night. That dream of going one better, it's still alive. So when we come back, Steve West now has his chance of getting through at the expense of Marvin van Velson for now.
Welcome to the party in Portsmouth here at the Modus Live Lounge.
They've both got the talent where they can reel off leg after leg and dish out a heavy defeat. What a way to start the day. We're up and running here on Champions Week with a maximum.
Well, what a way to finish. A 12-dart leg.
Beautiful check out there from Cam Crabtree.
Only
needs the one.
Game shot on the second leg. Darius
What were you saying about efficiency?
Game shot on the third leg. Reece
Is that
Robinson.
the moment that Reece Robinson comes alive in this crucial clash? Looks like he's going to go for it. And it is right next to his favourite double top. And he gets the job done at the earliest possibility. That is Cam Crabtree through.
Case not so. Harrison gets the all-important win.
Game shot on the second leg. Darius Labanowski. Game shot.
Well, Smith, is it a
Darius Labanowski.
9? A long time. And that clenched fist.
Game shot. And the
Oh,
match.
he gets the job done in the end. He's nodding in total
Game shot on the
agreement
second
because
leg. Game shot on the fourth leg.
Just like
Darius
that.
Labanowski.
only needs the one. And there you can see.
That she can unlock at any moment, but that is quality from Harrison. This would be a wake-up.
Welcome to the party in Pompey. Should be a good marker for him. And is. It was a great guide.
Game shot on the first leg. Andreas
It's a
Harrison.
breaker throw for Andreas Harrison.
Game shot on the second leg. Cam Crabtree.
Consecutive breaker throw. Double 16 is found.
And he does lead.
The fifth leg. Game
It's not an 11, but it's a beautiful 12, treble 17, which he gets. Bullseye for the win. Absolutely incredible by Andreas Harrison.
He's Andreas Dirty Harrison!
Steve West looking to join Tom Sykes in securing a spot at Champions Night tomorrow here at the Modus Super Series. And a victory in this game against Marvin van Velzen would see Steve West simply through. In fact, West doesn't even need 4 legs. And the security of the 2 points in his pocket in this game, 3 would be enough for Steve West. And a win for Marvin van Velzen would actually see him through. Such is the difference between legs 1 for the top 3 to the bottom 2. Adam Paxton already out. Richard Rolands is now chasing down Marvin van Velzen. Note that they play each other in the final game of the night. So if West wins here and Rolands gets a victory against Paxton, that would be a straight shootout at the end of the evening. There is one outcome, of course, that could see both players through, and that's Steve West getting 3 legs and Van Velzen beating him 4-3. That would see everything signed and sealed in this group. Let's see if it happens in the company of Scott Mitchell and Paul Nicholson.
Yeah, let's have a look at this one. And you mentioned that permutation, that perfect result, which would have both players smiling. What I can tell you is they won't have a clue about that. They really won't, unless someone's told them. But these guys, they just want to win every match. And in particular, in this fixture,
140.
I get the feeling that they really want to beat each other. And there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Now, in the experience I've had here in these back rooms, there is always one of the gang that would know the permutations. There's always one out there going, if you do this and he does that, or I do this, and then you do that and he does that, and Bob's your uncle. And
58.
Yeah, that's how it works. There's always one out there that will know the scenarios. I'm quite happy to tell the rest whether they like to know them or not.
Yeah, I've never wanted to know scenarios at Grand Slams or Super Series as a player. I always just wanted to play the game because I play the game to win every leg anyway. I'm trying to win every game 4-0 or 5-0. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm still trying to win by the biggest margins anyway.
Yeah, agreed. And
96. Steve, you require
you don't go up
68.
there to do a 4-3D and get your 3 legs you need. You go up there to win the game. And I think if you keep it that positive, then you then take that positive vibe into the next step. So
28. Marvin, you require 145.
Let's see if that approach, which didn't really go to plan for West, is made to make him pay. However, it doesn't.
121. Steve, you require
One thing that needs to
40.
change, though, is his accuracy on doubles. 4 out of 18 in his last game.
30.
He's just not been as sharp tonight as last night.
And when it starts to creep in, it's very difficult to eradicate and start hitting that momentum again.
Game shot on the first leg.
Well,
Marvin
it always
van
feels
Velsen.
worse when your opponent takes it out on the 3rd dart, especially when that 3rd dart is double 3.
Second leg. It's Marvin to throw first. Game on.
Marvin's been pulling his Rob Cross card all week. He's been like a camel out there. He's been drinking so much water. It's a good thing to do. Stay hydrated. Keeps the mind clear.
95.
Keeps your energy levels up. Coincidentally, that win for Marvin over West yesterday, it was a good performance, almost a 97 average. He took full advantage of the fact that West in that game wasn't very sharp on the doubles on that
44.
occasion as well. He was 1 from 9. Marvin was 4 from 6.
140.
Sometimes you just need to steady the ship after you've lost a leg. Steadying the ship,
97.
as far as the next 9 darts are concerned, would be 161 after 9. He's not going to get that.
91.
He's actually going to get something slightly easier. Because a 170 is easier than a 161. He's got company in the finishing zone, though.
Steve, you require 170.
So there's no question of laying up or going for it. Had he hit the 260s, he was definitely going for it.
60.
Yeah, the
Marvin,
two
you
trebles
require
from Marvin on his last
132.
visit didn't look likely with the first one so far away from the treble 19, but I suppose it does leave the target open, and now he wants that treble 19 again.
78. Steve, you require 110.
He's gone for bull tops.
95.
How ironic that
Marvin,
he gets
you
the bull, but
require
too late.
54.
Double top for Marvin.
Game shot on his second leg. Marvin van Velson.
He's definitely got the measure of this fixture over the last couple of nights.
Third leg. It's Steve to throw first. Game on.
Just a reminder that Marvin will be through if he wins this fixture.
100.
If West does not get 3 legs in this third game of the night for him, he still has more work to do when he plays Tom Sykes,
82.
who was already through. We saw late drama in Group C. We had
140.
fairly late drama in Group A. It'll be a big sigh of relief for Sykes, I can tell you that, because this has been a group where he has shown us his
59.
high level. But we have seen something from him that maybe is an education tool about Sykes as well.
60.
He's not the complete package yet against slower players. And if I think if West and Marvin knock Richard Rolands out, I think Tom Sykes is going to be happy about that.
Yeah, definitely. I was just about to say this is Achilles' heel, isn't it? It seems to be at this moment in time.
60.
It won't always be. He will find a way. Because you have to find a way. Because those players are going to continue to crop up in
140. Steve, you
sort of
require
playing career.
141.
Maybe a little bit less these days because of the Dutch influence and a lot of
101.
players becoming
Marvin, you require 136.
less deliberate. You come up against more people like Marvin, looking at 136 and 88. Oh, it's
On the
big.
third leg, Marvin van Velsen.
He needs one more leg to qualify, and West has just been hit with a hammer.
Fourth leg, it's Marvin to throw first. Game on.
West is thinking right now, please just get me through, but get Marvin in the other group tomorrow. He might be sick of the sight of him.
100.
He has not averaged, and I'm just going to remind everybody of this, because there's been a lot of talk about Sykes and West
60.
over the last couple of nights. Marvin is yet to average under 93 in this group in any game he's played.
55.
And that's impressive with the clientele here he's keeping as well. It's very impressive indeed.
58.
But there have been too many troublous visits. Just offering too many olive branches to his opponent, unfortunately.
59.
And I'm not talking about
60.
treble sevens either. And neither is he. Richard Rolands in 4th position
137.
was hoping for a 4-0 in this game. But it's gone the other way than he wanted.
97.
He
Marvin,
wanted
you
Steve
require
West to win 4-0.
150. $82.
It may just be 4-0 Marvin. But there is a severe bright side.
108.
Even if Marvin hits the 68,
Marvin,
Steve
you
West is
require
still in a strong
68.
position. Double 16.
Game shot.
We have another
And
name in
Marvin
Saturday
van
night.
Velson.
And his name is Marvin van Velson. Jimmy Van Ski has got another Dutchman to talk to on Saturday night. And this place is going to be bananas for Marvin and for Jimmy come 7:30 Saturday night. West has still got more work to do to get there. He may just get there still, but Marvin is definitely there. And he's made his way there with Tom Sykes this evening. Without further ado, we'll take a break after that 4-0 victory for Marvin. And when we come back, it's Paxton against Rolands.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where Richard Eric Rolands is trying to keep his faint hopes alive of making it through to Champions Night tomorrow. He takes on Adam Paxton, already eliminated from Group B. He can't make it, but Rolands still can. He's still going to need a mathematical miracle, but he does play 2 of the final 3 games tonight. Now, Steve West lost 4-0. He's now the target. Van Velson is through with Tom Sykes. Rolands, to still have a chance at the end of this game, needs to win it by a margin of 2 legs or more. So if Adam Paxton gets to 3, that will see Steve West through despite that defeat, that heavy defeat in the previous match. If Roland wins 4-2, 4-1 or 4-0, then he will still have his hopes alive
First
going
leg,
into the final 2
Richard
games.
First. Game on.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks, Murph. Richard Rolands needing to win by a couple of legs. Has the advantage of starting as well. I'm not sure he will know that that's what he needs.
140.
That's a very good start to the proceedings here in Game 8.
Let's look at the pattern of how Richard played
140.
in his last 2 games last night. Albeit he played them at different times. He played Game 6 and Game 9. Here he's playing Game 8 and Game 10. So he's playing at a slightly different frequency at the late hour. However, his last 2 games yesterday, he averaged 74.56, I beg your pardon, and 81.88.
93.
If he puts those numbers in against Paxton and Marvin, he doesn't qualify.
No, very much agreed, and the Rolands fans will be disappointed.
123.
But he started well here. 140, 100, and 1, 2, 3.
98. Richard, you
I
require
wonder if
138.
Adam is feeling a little bit dejected because he will know at this point that he hasn't qualified for Saturday. And it's no ordinary Saturday. It's the Saturday that everybody wants to play in.
98. Adam, you require 170.
Another 170 slips by.
105.
Something he
Richard,
leaves
you
quite
require
often, isn't it,
40.
the Pac-Man?
And you should be leaving 170, really. If you can count properly, it is something you should leave very often. First blood
On the first leg, Richard
to
Rolands.
Welshie. He must win legs like that. He efficiently
Second leg,
takes out
it's
the
Adam to
double
throw first.
with his opponent not
Game
even
on.
getting a chance. He's going to have to win both his games with very little coming back.
100.
He's going to need Steve West to have a nightmare against Tom Sykes in Game 9. We haven't really engaged our YouTube chat much over the last few days because the drama has taken over. But everybody who's tuning in tonight,
108.
watching that 180 from Adam Paxton, let's get involved, shall we? Because we only have one more name to put in the Saturday night hat. Who does everybody want to win? And who does everybody think
41.
will win if it's a different answer? We want to hear from you between now and the end of the show. What do you think the end story is going to be in Series 8?
100.
Connor Scott will return. He's had a couple of days off. Probably only practiced about 10 hours a day between Wednesday and today.
Yeah,
$100.
Just like a practice as
Adam,
our
you
Connor,
require
but
121.
He's like one of those cats who has a dream and is still running. When he's sleeping, he's probably still throwing.
65.
yeah, he's like those batteries with the copper top on the copper color on the top. And I didn't think of that because Adam Paxman was playing. I did think of that genuinely, showing my age from the
100. Adam, you require
advertisement
56.
for such battery.
Double top for the copper
It's on
top.
his second leg, Adam Paxton.
I will say one thing. That shirt is a thing of beauty, isn't it?
Third leg, it's
I'd like
Richard
to know
throw first.
the inspiration
Game
for
on.
that shirt. It could be anything from Arno Rubik to something that resembles something you would find at a
139.
school playground window from a previous art class. And I say that somewhat loosely because in times gone by, I actually made
60.
fun of a Robert Owen shirt. And then he came up to me and said, "You made fun of my dart shirt." I said, "Yes, I did." He said that was a dart shirt that was created by a local school project. And the person who won the contest would design a shirt for me, and I just had to apologise. It actually was a fabulous idea. If you ever want to have a dart shirt designed,
57.
if you've got a contact at a local school, give them the project. Get them to design it. Imagine that for a young kid. That man is wearing my dart shirt that I designed.
Yeah, absolutely. There's all sorts
58.
of things that could be done, and we always hear the saying, 2 heads are better than one. Well, 40 heads are better than one as well, because there's 40 different
100.
ideas.
Richard, you require 167.
We're getting a lot of answers as to who people think will win and who people want to win when it comes to Champions Night. Scott is my
58.
favourite. From someone. Getting a lot of love for Sykes and for West.
100.
West isn't even there yet.
Richard, you require 109.
And apparently Marvin's Army are going to be dancing on the tables. I'm not sure they will be, actually. Double 16 for Richard.
93.
He's not going to be punished here in leg 3. But as time ticks by and legs go by,
94.
his mission just gets a
Richard, you
little
require
harder.
16.
We cast our eye back to the betting before we started this evening.
Game shot on the third leg.
Bookies,
Richard Roland.
if I remember rightly, had Western Sykes as equal favourites for the group.
Fourth leg. It's Adam
And
to throw first.
And Velson to
Game
get
on.
through with them.
Here's the crazy thing. Steve West is third in the group.
140.
He's not through. Van Velson is, and Sykes is. West can still win the group.
Absolutely. When you said, I know that it's a crazy thing, I thought you were talking about Richard Rolands talking to himself there.
100.
Oh, that happens all the time.
First sign of madness, having a chat to yourself, or the lovely little basket that covers our camera that's on the floor.
57.
Having a good chinwag with that. It's not the first time we've seen that here. We've seen young Richie Burnett having a chat with a speaker.
Sounds like the House of Commons, doesn't it?
No, it was a genuine speaker, not as in a
100.
speaker, as in the Speaker of the House of Commons. It was just a speaker.
Well, can you imagine Richie Burnett as an MP saying, "Mr. Speaker, I've got something to say"?
46.
I'd pay to see that.
Interesting times that would be. Hang on a minute, I can't have a chat now. I've just got to go and get some water out of a radiator for me pot noodle.
They really should make a movie out of his life. It would be a blockbuster.
59.
We actually did have a conversation at the Modus Super Series once as to who would warrant having a movie made
134.
for them about their life. 2 people came up more than others. One was Richie Burnett. The other one was Rob Cross. And considering how well he is, or how good he is at portraying people from
60.
their successful
Adam, you
lives,
require
Taron Egerton could probably
124.
do it. He did Elton John. He did Eddie the Eagle.
92.
He was a pretty successful ginger man.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that, but I think there's a lot of stories within darts, individual players and their road to glory, if want for a better word.
96. Adam, you require 32.
If Adam takes this,
Game shot on
things
the
are
fourth
getting
leg.
very,
Adam
very
Paxton.
skinny. Adam needs one more leg,
Fifth leg.
and
It's
that will
Richard
send
to throw
Steve
first.
West into Champions
on.
Night.
Just seeing Adam Paxton there take his dart out and then return his dart into the board and then walk away.
60.
It is a break of rules, isn't it? Once you remove your dart from the board, and there's a lot of players that do this up and down the country in whatever
100.
leagues you play, and they take the dart out and then stab what they've just hit and then wander away. And I think if you check the rules, I think that is against the rules, returning your dart to the board.
Yes, that's called pointing. And it's something that Vincent van der Voort has actually been told off for at Lakeside once.
100.
I know it's against the rules. I know the rules state that once the darts have been removed from the board, the points should then not return to touching the board.
140.
Yes, it's actually classified as interfering with the playing surface. In golf recently, they've changed their rules about tapping down spike marks. Because previously, and more infamously, at the 1991 Ryder Cup, when Bernard Langer had a putt to save the Ryder Cup,
140.
he had to put around a spike mark. Years later, in fact decades later, they changed the rules where you can tap them down. But in darts, if your darts are taken out of the board,
140.
you're not supposed to dab the board with the points anymore. That is against the rules.
So what is the consequence of doing it then? So what? You've broken the rules. What do you do? Do you lose a leg? Do you lose a throw? Do you lose a...
I believe the process is
125. Adam, you require 121.
second warning, loss of leg. Then again, it's loss of match.
Ah.
Oh boy.
On a fifth leg.
Big
Adam
news
Paxton.
at the Modus Super Series. And I think Richard Eric Rolands knows the score. The writing's on the
Sixth
wall.
leg.
Pac-Man
It's
is
Adam to
3-2
throw
up.
first.
And Steve West
on.
is going to Champions Night. The field is complete. And the two players who you see on the hockey right now, who left themselves with so much to do, it turns out it was too much to do. Congratulations to Tom, to Marvin, and to Steve,
140.
who are going to join Jimmy, Derek, and Connor. Your Series 8 winner will be one of those guys.
85.
And what a way to do it. With a 1-2-1 on the bull, and he's 3 out of 3 on the doubles in this game. He might be leaving us, not with a thud, but with a real bang. This is a 101 average from Paxton.
60.
I think he has to take... It's a massive plus to be here.
140.
And he has performed well in what has to be a very tough group.
I can envisage Paxton winning more weeks here. I'm not necessarily sold on him getting to the PDC Pro Tour next year. I think another year
99.
here, he could have a lot of fun and earn an awful lot of money playing here in 2025. Maybe just needs a little bit more
100.
exposure to this and maybe a bit of ADC stuff. Maybe go to some other events as well.
Ironically, I was looking up the Challenge Tour sort of little stats and things yesterday, and he sat at number 50 in the Challenge Tour, where Sykes is sat at number 56.
For the win, double 18.
58. Richard, you
Press
require
pause.
102.
Or in the case of Pac-Man, he might need another 50 pence to keep the game going. Doesn't get the bull this time. He did in a 1-4-2
62.
yesterday.
Adam, you require 18.
It's double 9. Other side.
Game shot and the match.
And
Adam
that is a parting
Paxton.
shot from Paxton. He understands that he has actually knocked Welshie out and he's got a game to spare. But we will see Adam Paxton again. We will welcome him with open arms. He's not going to make Champions Night in his debut campaign. But he has left an indelible mark in this week, and look at that for a parting shot, 98.31. I make that the best performance of the night, and the doubles are just as good at 67%. That 1-2-1 checkout, funnily enough, that was the shot that sent West into Champions Night. And you're going to see West next. What's his parting shot going to be in the early hours of Saturday? He's up against Tom Sykes. It is to see who wins the group potentially.
A start from the young man. Right. World Youth Champion. Oh, what a response that is from his father. Back-to-back 140s. Deciding leg of 7. My goodness, back-to-back 180s. Well, we've seen 2 9s in last year's Modus League. Seen a couple of 10s. Haven't seen a 9 yet in the Online Darts Live League. Double 19. Double 12 for the 9. And he gets the 9. What a way to win.
B. Group B contains the 5 players. 3 progress to Saturday's final.
60.
Of course, that emphasis is on qualifying for Saturday night's final, because the winner, the runner-up, and the winner of the 3rd and 4th place playoff will get their crack at Champions Week.
180.
Trying to get their hands at £7,000 first prize.
45.
Some of you on them forums are here.
180.
Oh, welcome back, Martin. Where have you been? Where did you go?
100. Martin, you require 141.
Double 12.
Game
Absolutely outstanding
Martin
from
Adams.
Martin Adams as he hits a 9-darter.
Well, the excitement has just moved to another level here at the Modus Super Series on this Champions Week, because we now know the Super 6 that will be on the Super Series stage at Champions Night. Here we go. Connor Scott, Tom Sykes, Marvin Van Velson, Steve West, Derek Coulson and Jimmy Van Ski will battle it out tomorrow for the right to play for £25,000 and, of course, get their name on the Roll of Honour. That is your Champions Night lineup, and 2 of them are on the stage right now. Tom Sykes about to take on Steve West in the penultimate match of the group. West was made to wait, made to worry when he went down 4-0 to Marvin Van Velzen in his previous game, but Adam Paxton got the job done for West by beating Richard Rolands. Paxton and Rolands wave goodbye. Richard will return to take on MVV in the final game of the night, but now a chance for bragging rights between West and Sykes, who would win the group if we
First
did
leg,
beat
it's
Steve
Tom
West
to throw first.
in this one. So for the
Game
penultimate
on.
time tonight, I will hand you back over to Scotty Dog and the asset.
Thank you very much. Permission to get excited, sir.
134.
Permission granted. And that goes for everyone. It is Champions Day. It's Saturday.
76.
But it's not Champions Night yet. And we don't know who's won this group yet, so just press pause on that for a second.
100.
And everybody who's watching, enjoy the next 2 matches, because they are the last ones before the night that we all wait for.
66.
Only 3 times a year.
Absolutely. I'm Expecting this one to be a little bit more free flow than what we've had.
60.
Both know that they're through. Both having a little laugh and a joke about it up there on the stage.
99.
You think Steve West is feeling relieved at the minute after what happened against Marvin?
No, I don't think so. I think the way that Westy's been playing of late, I think that he would have been confident that had he needed to get the job done here, he would do.
82. Tom, you require 150.
Going through his third place means that you don't get the darts in your first match on finals night.
118.
We haven't seen the same standard tonight. But what we have replaced the standard with
32.
is that amount of tension just before a Champions Night that we can't take our eyes off. Well, that double 16 is almost fully blocked.
No score.
Look at that.
Steve, you require 69.
That's not the first time that's happened this week for Tom. All hail tops.
Game shot on the first leg.
Change of route for West there. We saw him have that left earlier and went the 45 for the double 12 and didn't hit the double 12, did he? So
game on.
This time round, he's gone to back himself with one dart and tops, and it was the right thing to do because he absolutely clobbered it in there. And now momentum with Steve West starts leg 2 with a 180.
60.
How quickly a game can turn round.
7 180s for the night.
85.
Which in itself is a really good campaign for 4 matches. However, he actually got 5 180s in his first match and he lost the match. In that game he had against Rolands, he was made to work for that
60.
in a very, very long, hard way. It just so happens that was the game that got him over the line.
100.
This place is going to be bouncing, isn't it? Jimmy Van Skee's here. You've seen some of our video packages
92.
in between games of Marvin Van Velson winning just a few weeks ago. And that was crazy. Beating Adrian Gray in that final. He had people
60.
here.
Steve, you require 84.
My word, this is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, and who can forget the night that Van Ski qualified by winning his
72.
evening with the Van Ski Barmy Army in.
Which one? There have been 2 of them. The second time he beat Richie Burnett in the final. That's crazy
100.
enough.
Steve, you required 12.
And you saw what Jimmy did to qualify today. 103 average in his last match.
6.
West may not be 2-0
Tom,
up.
you require 81.
Let's not forget Connor Scott either. Our Group A winner.
55.
So close.
Steve, you require
and yet so
6.
far. Show me someone who likes double 3, and I'll show you a liar.
No score. Tom, you require 26.
It's a horrible double.
It's one you've really got to go at first start. Double 7 now then for Sykesy.
$12. Steve,
Nobody
you
wants
require
it.
6.
Who wants it? Basement double. Madhouse.
4. Tom, you require
You could
14.
say these guys are doing some sightseeing on the dartboard, but it's Sykes seeing if he can win.
Game shot
And he
on his
does win that
second
leg
Tom
somehow.
Sykes.
With a David Beckham style leg. 23 darts.
Third leg, it's Tom to throw first.
They're probably both
Game
saying
on.
to themselves right now, I hope we don't play like this tomorrow night.
180.
It's a 180 on a pinhead from Tom Sykes, and you're able to do that with those long points
85.
and long stems. And don't need much of the bed. It doesn't take up much of the bed. And once again, with the 180s we've seen tonight and the high finishing, not a second-hand board you would like to purchase. Had a fair bit of wear, hasn't it?
180.
Just a small matter of 3 180s in this game so far. It's only like 3.
100.
I'm sure we're going to get more. The averages have capitulated, really, because of the missed starts at double. I told you we were going to get more.
180. Tommy require 140.
It would be so funny if we go from having a 23 dart leg
100.
to an 11 dart leg.
56.
Let's find out.
Sean, third leg.
All he can
Steve
do is
West.
laugh sometimes. A return to quality from Steve West.
But is it
flag.
funny,
It's
ha
Steve to
ha,
throw
or is
first.
it funny, chortle,
Game on.
chortle, a la comic book?
I think you'd have to ask Westy.
I think it was ha ha.
100.
He's going to have a few people watching late on Friday night, and if they can't make it or if they don't have a ticket, there's going to be a lot of West
100.
fans watching from afar. His friends Ricky, Lee White, Adam, the biggest level 42 fan in the world.
60.
I know his wife Michelle's going to be here.
I think Dad's here as well. I've already
59.
seen him this evening.
Oh, he wouldn't miss it for the world.
Mr. West Senior.
I'm sure Sykes has got Team Sykes with him.
61.
His dad will be in town. Of that, there's no doubt. He's the most nervous man in the place.
58. 78.
I know you're going to be asked this about 10 times between now and 7:30, Scott, but
140.
at this stage, with the information that we have at hand, who wins it?
Yesterday
92.
I said Tom Sykes.
Tom, you require 144.
Just to be different to you with your Connor Scott prediction, and
128.
my only
Steve, you require
concern
110.
for Tom is if the pace gets taken out of the game.
70.
Ooh,
Tom, you
almost
require
110
16.
the hard way. Good guide. Better guide.
No score.
Apparently not good enough.
Steve, you require 40.
You can't do that against Westy. Or maybe you can.
Game shot of
Apparently
four
not.
flag. Steve West.
3-1 Steve. His evening's work is almost done, and the same for
Fifth
Sykes.
flag. It's Tom to throw first. Game on.
The winner of this group
100.
is very interesting. If West wants to win the group, I make it
81.
that he has to win this leg.
$100.
As it stands, they both have, in a live sense, 10 points.
135.
Steve has 10 by virtue of the fact that he's ahead in this fixture. That will remain the case if he wins.
100.
But if he wins this leg, he will overtake Tom Sykes in leg difference by one solitary leg.
108.
And there is your fifth 180 of this match. A fourth from West.
131. Steve,
But
you
even if
require
West takes this
105.
105, he hasn't won the group yet because Marvin van Velson can win it.
Good cover shooting there from
69.
Sykes.
Tom, you require 70.
West sets it up with the last. It's all about this Double 16 now for Sykes. He's
38.
wired it once
Stevie
more.
require 36.
And a wry smile on his face. I think he knows the writing's on the wall.
Game shot and the match.
And the
Steve
writing
West.
on the wall, indeed, was written by Steve West. 4-1 win for him. Not the most classic of games, but it's job done for those two. You will see them on Saturday night. Steve West 86-3-1, 4 from 18. Possibly the reason why the average dropped off a little bit. Sykes 1 from 13. He'll need to sharpen up on that a little bit. But we are looking forward now to a superb finals night here on Saturday night for Champions Week. As we head to a short break, and when we return, we will return with our last match of the evening, where Marvin van Velson takes on Richard Rolands.
Hang on a minute.
Wow! Oh my God! Well, that's £100 down the drain already.
Itching to hit the 180.
He's gone for the maximum.
18 for the bull. Bull.
53.
No, he said bull. That's a great first out from Adam. Oh, look at this. He's going to leave Scape. Oh,
Can you believe it? That is unbelievable. Get match darts to put his team into the final. And through to the final they go. Charlie Murphy has hit the match-winning dart on both occasions. Double 4 for the title.
Game shot out the match. Please show your appreciation for the winner of the Influencer Pairs event, George Scaife and Adam Lipscomb.
He seems to be out. That's what he is. Charlie Murphy. A couple more visits yet. We're not going to need that.
Bosh.
Pie face is through.
And he's absolutely buzzing.
It was a game that pie face dominated throughout.
Well, they say it comes in threes, don't they? Just 3 weeks ago, Steve West was getting married. The following Saturday, he went on to win his week here at the Modus Super Series, and maybe tomorrow night he could be lifting the trophy and becoming the Series 8 champion. He's through to finals night, and he's talking to Paul Nicholson.
Steve, 5-time weekly champion. You came here about a week after getting married, and you got the title in week 11. Now you're through to Champions Night once again. How do you feel?
Surprised, happy but surprised. I didn't even think I'd be playing darts at this level any time after my operation. So to have 8 months off, come back, win a week surprisingly, and then come here and do this is brilliant.
How do you feel about how you played tonight? Because it looks as if you did most of the damage on Thursday night.
Yeah, today was frankly rubbish, but I nicked 2 wins, so you know I'm quite happy to do that as long as I get through. The results don't matter to me.
Does it matter winning the group or position in the table at all? Is it just about being there?
Yeah, just get there Saturday, and then you do the damage on Saturday night if you're good enough, aren't you? And that, positioning is that's for them to think about. I don't need to think about that.
There's been a lot of chatter over the last couple of days about people bringing certain posses with them. Jimmy Van Ski's got a lot of people coming. I think Marvin may have a lot of people coming now that he's through. What about you?
Yeah, just the usuals. Mum, dad, wife. I can say that now, wife. And that's it. I think, the rest will be what they'll be. I'm happy with them 3 or 4. That's good enough for me.
Do you think there's any pressure on you to get this title on Saturday night? Because it feels as if there's more pressure on someone like Tom Sykes, who got really close a couple of series ago, and maybe a bit on Connor Scott.
There's no pressure on me. I shouldn't be even here to play, so I'm just going to take it as it comes. If I win, I'll win. Great. If I don't, that's what it is.
You've had a great career, and it's been a fabulous summer for you so far, especially over the last 3 or 4 weeks. But what would it mean to you if in 24 hours you are the Super Series 8 champion?
It mean a lot to me and my wife. It's going to be life-changing money. It's good money. There's no doubt about it. We've all got our problems. We've all got our debts and stuff like that. So if I won that would help us out a hell of a lot.
Without further ado, Steve, welcome to Champions Night. We'll see you on Saturday.
Thank you.
Steve West there alluding to the time he's had out of the game after an operation that he's had to recover from, and what a comeback it's been from West, who not only is through to Champions Night, but could go through as a Group B winner, and will if Richard Eric Rolands can get the better of Marvin van Velzen in tonight's curtain closer. If Van Velzen wins, then he will top the group, and everybody else will move down a place. So West will finish second. Tom Sykes will finish third. For the final time, then, it's back to the boys in the commentary box. Paul Nicholson joining Scott Mitchell.
Yeah, thanks, Murph. Yeah, the stage is set.
First
we know
leg, it's Marvin to throw
protagonists
first.
for Saturday evening,
Game
but
on.
there's a little matter now, because there is a financial implication of which position you actually qualify from through your group.
55.
So obviously being top of the group is financially better for you than, say, qualifying in third place. So Van Velzen with that carrot dangled nicely for him to be able to top the group here.
100.
Is that something that is going to interest him? I would say yes as a dart player. You don't want to go into that Saturday night
134.
Champions Week as well, having lost your last game to somebody that is on their way home.
That's a very fair thing to say. And considering that Marvin is going to have to share that practice room one more time with West and with Sykes, if he walks in there with the thought that he was atop those two players, that will make his confidence feel even better. But here's the craziest thing. After everything that Tom Sykes has been through this week,
60.
he could find himself in third position in this table. After everything he did last night with the 113 average, it just proves that that was only one game.
60.
It was merely 1/8 of the story.
And we've discussed this evening on Marvin's averages throughout this Group B. So does that tell you that his consistency,
99.
probably does
Marvin, you
deserve to
require
top the group, doesn't he?
112.
I think on some level you've got a very good point there. He has been Mr. Consistent in this group.
Game shot.
And there's a little bit more of it.
Marvin van Velsen.
Starts with a 15. He's just playing so
Second
well.
leg. It's Richard to throw first. Game on.
There's been a lot of chatter about Scott, about Jimmy, even more about Derek today. Don't get too carried away and forget about Marvin.
96.
When someone is playing the best darts they've ever played, they expect to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Derek Coulson for me is the fox in the hen house.
85.
Really could shake the groups up.
Let's talk about the ceilings of performance for the sixth then, before we even get to Champions Night. Derek Coulson
96.
has averaged over 109 in a game this week. Tom Sykes has averaged over 113. Connor Scott's averaged 111. We're talking about elite numbers. And then you add an audience to these kinds of players. What on earth could we get? Could we get something that we've never seen before on Saturday night? Something like a 9-darter.
96.
A Champions Night 9-dart shootout. I sincerely hope so.
If you want to know,
140.
you're going to have to be tuned in tomorrow. Because we have got ourselves an absolute ripper of an evening for you.
And I'm sure Paxton and Rolands are very disappointed at not making Champions Night. But just getting to this week is an achievement in itself.
63. Richard, you require 90.
To be fair, Paxton is probably just chuffed we've worked out that he's not Welsh.
Doesn't get the second 25, so Marvin's got a crack at the first 170 of the week. It's one of the only things missing.
50. Marvin, you require 170.
That's perfect. That's not. That's a hat stand.
63. Richard, you require 40.
It's almost like he tried that on purpose.
I think he was a little bit upset that he had that lateral drift into the ones
It's on
and
a second leg. Richard
through the
Roland.
last one in a bit of anger. Roland just ambles on up.
Third leg.
Pops
It's
it up
Marvin
in
to
there.
throw first.
Double top first dart.
Game on.
I wonder what this series is going to do for Richard.
59.
It was a long time ago that he won his week. He stopped Andreas Harrison from having a chance to defend his title. And he was such a hot favourite in that final. Massively hot favourite.
We talk about young players developing and what the Super Series does for them, and we mustn't forget that elder statesmen like Richard Rolands, like Derek Coulson, it's doing something for them as well, equally.
And if you want to know exactly what it's done for Derek Coulson, he was talking about it with you and Henry Dickin this afternoon. He was saying, I would not be here if it wasn't for
58.
the seniors.
Correct, and I think if you asked Richard Rolands, he would be singing off the same song sheet.
60.
So what we're saying is, if Derek Coulson wins on Saturday night, it's all the seniors' fault.
Yeah, and we'll take full credit for that.
I had a feeling he'd say that.
A great bunch of people in the seniors.
60.
Very competitive. But also, there's a lot of guys that are pleased to see each other in that room.
100.
It's as much a social time as ever. It's like going back a few years for all of us. It really is. If you are over 50 and you're out there, you really need to look into it.
134. Marvin,
Come
you
and join
require
us.
142. $52. Richard, you require 149.
So treble 20 here for Rolands. Not to be this time. He's going to stay there. 80 in the board. 69 left. Where's he going? He's not really sure. Go treble 19.
99. Marvin,
Needs
you
the
require
bullseye.
90.
Marvin will be looking at 20, 20, and bullseye as the worst requirement. Bullseye.
65.
We've seen him hit that a few
Richard,
times.
You require 50.
Under pressure.
That was right on line, wasn't it? Is this? Go north. But it doesn't go in.
42. Marvin, you require 25.
Looks like he's going 17 double 4. That is the route.
Game
And that is the reason why.
Marvin van Velson.
Well, that is one of the things that could happen on Saturday night and get a lot of people
It's Richard
very,
to
very
throw
happy.
first.
We've actually had a
Game on.
question in our YouTube chat from someone called Luke saying, is the Live Lounge ready for a touring car filled with the Marvin Army? We're ready.
92.
Bring them on. We can't wait to have the craziness. As long as we've got the order for the players when they're throwing.
55.
And another question as well, a really good one from Jack. Out of 23 games, how many times has Van Velson averaged below 90? Of 22 games completed, he's had 7 games under 90.
Yeah, impressive indeed. And I have to say,
125.
should he top this group? I feel he kind of deserves it for his consistency alone.
$45. $55.
Champions Night is only 18 hours away. Isn't that an exciting thought? Whatever you're doing on Saturday, no matter where you are in the world, just enjoy what you do leading up to it. And then get
100.
things lined up like snacks and drinks, and then just sit back and watch it happen.
It's nice of you to state that it's only 18 hours away. I think the team down in the dungeon
60.
in the production room
Richard, you require
are
124.
fully aware of that without you now reminding them.
Oh, we all can't wait. It's what we live for.
$56.
Van Velson in the background was doing a little bit of Alan Norris calisthenics.
$90.
We've never had a Dutch
Richard, you
champion.
require 68.
There are 2 people who could change that on Saturday night.
Yeah, 1/3 of the field are Dutch, so the odds are
36.
probably better than ever for them.
Marvin, you require 116.
Can he get the 60 that he needs?
60.
The answer is no.
Richard, you require
And Rolands
32.
can equalise now with 3 darts in hand for 32.
Game shot on
Yeah,
the
it doesn't get much
flag,
better than
Richard
that.
Rolands.
We've never had a Welsh champion either.
5th flag, it's Marvin to throw
Plenty of
first.
Welsh people have
Game on.
won weeks. But nobody has won from the Principality.
96.
Not yet. Although it has been a pretty good day for Welsh darts. Nick Kenny had a really good victory at the European Tour event in Germany today, beating Jelle Klaassen of the Netherlands. Nick's in some really good form at the minute.
Yeah, won the Champion of
99.
Champions at the weekend, last weekend.
Yeah, 2nd year in a row that a Welsh player has won it, after Kurt Parry won last year.
99.
And that tournament has changed careers for people like Ryan Searle, Gezi Price, Johnny Clayton, Kurt Parry himself, Paul Hogan, who was playing here, what is now yesterday.
96.
He won that tournament. Alex Small as well. So that makes it 3 consecutive Welsh players, doesn't it?
99.
Yeah, it does. I remember Alex Small as a youth player and taking my kids to a youth game and bumping into him. What a player he's turned into. Hasn't always had the rub of the green when he's been here at the Super Series, but you don't win the Champion of Champions
41.
if you can't play the game.
$140.
He's got to stay down in the 19s here with dart 2, but he should switch on dart number 3.
57.
The route to that 57 was shut. Should have gone to the 60.
He was looking to score 95 to lead the 170, wasn't he?
47.
We are getting some interesting questions at this late hour in our chat.
Marvin, you
Might
require
read out a couple
20.
of them before we have our final debrief at the end of the night with Chris Murphy.
Game
But
shot
it might not be long before we have that chat because Marvin is 3-2 up. I just want to bring one thing up, which
Sick leg.
I think you're the perfect person to ask this about.
Game on.
Jack in our chat has asked about the Welsh Open darts being played in England. We haven't been political all week, but just once, I'd love to get your take on why that is the case.
Well, I believe they lost their venue within Wales, which used to be Pontins at Prestatyn.
81.
I don't think that they had a lot of chance to find another venue relevant. So it has ended up in England, and obviously you have to get permission from England Darts to be able to play
100.
a Welsh Open in England. So the Tri-Nations have got together and allowed it to happen, which I think is good for the Welsh Open. And yes, so it's moved to, I think it's a Sandy Bay resort near Weston-super-Mare.
Well, there you have it. There's the explanation. It doesn't get more concise than that. There's one thing we learned from
81.
COVID is that sometimes you just have to pivot with what you have. And this whole thing, this tournament, the thing that we call the Modus Super Series now, it all started because as a sport we had to pivot. And look at what we've got now. All this excitement over the next 18 hours and 11 minutes before the show starts.
140.
And we get excited about darts at its finest at this level.
Yeah, it will be lights, camera and action, won't it?
26. Richard, you require 84.
And with that visit from Van Velson, we are looking at going down the last leg on the very last game.
52.
Our first 5 games this evening all went with throw. Our last 4 matches this evening
78.
have all gone against
32.
throw. Now, if you believe in fate and it's going to be 5 and 5, that tells me that Richard Rolands
Game shot on a
could be the one stealing this off of Van Velson.
That word steal is very apt right now because with taking leg number 6, Marvin is now 3rd in the table. If he wins this leg, he'll be 1st.
58.
Well, some would say he's been up and down this table in these last couple of legs like a fiddler's elbow.
In a darting sense, in that table, Marvin's been so up and down.
87.
He's been like Colin Osborne's yo-yo in the 1990s. If you didn't know, former weekly champion and former finalist in a series, Colin Osborne used to be a yo-yo champion.
55.
And like any other sport, that always has its ups and downs. I'm here all week. No, I'm not. I'm home.
60.
Marvin knows he has to win this match to win the group, and he wants to win this group. There's something else as well that seems to have gone by the wayside here. If Rolands wins this game, he's going to be 4th. If he doesn't win this leg, he's going to be 5th.
125.
In one leg of darts, at the end of qualifying in Champions Week, we are seeing more movement than people moving seats in the House of Commons recently.
Yeah, agreed. And I did speak about the financial implications at the start of this match.
Oh, it's the last 180 of the entire week leading into Saturday.
129.
The last one, courtesy of Richard Rolands. But the last shot,
89.
it could also be landed by Welshie.
49.
This is to be fourth in the table. And for West to win the group. Rolands gets fourth.
Richard Rolands.
Marvin van Velson is going to have to settle for third space in the group. Sykes will be second. And Steve West, who admitted to us that he didn't even play that well tonight. He has won Group B. And it looks like Marvin van Velson and Steve West are on a collision course in a group on Saturday night as well. Without further ado, after what's been a brilliant Champions Week, throughout the week, we have seen ups and downs. We'll have one more chat, and then after that, you all have our permission to be very, very excited for Champions Night.
Well, that's it. The end of the evening and the end of qualifying for Champions Night. I'm going to chat with Paul and Scott in a moment, but let's just reflect on the results from tonight. And it's an interesting pattern, isn't it? The first 5 matches going with the throw, the final 5 going against the throw, and every player winning a couple of games in this group.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting group, ups and downs, but Scott called it. As soon as we went into game number 9, hang on a minute, there's a bit of a pattern here. And the pattern, it started yesterday with the first 5 games being won by the person who had the darts. Everybody had 2 points after 5 games. And then it actually follows that here on the second night. But things have been very, very odd. Ups, downs, maybes. And West admitting that he didn't play that great, but has won the group.
Yeah, West was best in the end, Scott. He didn't seem overly thrilled to have made it, but he kind of is using what's happened recently as a reason not to put pressure on himself, because had none of that happened, he would have probably been favourite to win this week. Do you think that's a wise little ploy from him?
Yeah, absolutely. If you can deflect some of the ways that players are going to play against you and say, well, I'm not playing well anyway, I'm not really doing it. It does deflect what's going on. And wise move from him, I think. And some people don't get away with it, but he'll get away with that. And I know he's trying to get himself under the radar a bit. He'll be expecting a bit more of himself tomorrow night for sure.
Some story, isn't it? Wedding 3 Saturdays ago, 2 Saturdays ago, qualifying for Champions Night. Could be winning it on that stage after what's been a hellish sort of 12 months for Steve West.
Yeah, I think what you've got to do is you've got to remember that the Saturdays over the last 3 or 4 have been memorable for him. But think about the 12 to 15 Saturdays before that, sitting on the sofa, not able to throw, not able to socialise with friends the way he wants, not able to drive. It's something that relaxes him. And he had to sit there and watch everybody else succeed. And now he's got a chance to succeed at the top level at this part of the game. But I think what Scott said is very apt. He's trying to be under the radar. I think if we look at the way he played in week 11, it was around day 3 where he really started to kick in. So day 3 of the week is tomorrow. So that would be a pretty good time to kick in.
Interesting point. Another player who's got an interesting week is Tom Sykes, because he's back at Champions Night and he could be just the second player ever to make it to a grand final. How many times do we say this? Only Luke Littler, but only Luke Littler has managed to do that before.
Yeah, and I think that Tom's in a great mind space. My fear for him is that we've seen so far this week his Achilles heel is playing those slower players, and should Derek Coulson be in his way at any point, I think that could be a stumbling block for him. But you've got to find out about yourself, and there's no better place to do that than here at the Super Series in the Live Lounge. Champions Week. Who wouldn't want to be there? You'd have to eradicate all those negative thoughts and be positive and know that if you get 4 games right tomorrow night, then it could all be yours.
And that's the thing, isn't it? All the players have done that before on a Saturday night. Marvin van Velzen, one of the players that's really emerged in this series.
That's the thing about it, isn't it? It's not a different stadium. It's not like the Champions League where they have to go to somewhere neutral to play another team. It's the same hockey. It's the same type of dartboard. You're holding the same equipment on the whole, and you just have to replicate the good bits and try and eradicate the bad bits. Do the right things at the right times, and great things are possible. They know how to do it. It's just the calibre of the field is probably just a little bit better.
Dart players are repetitive, so they've had that success there on that stage. And those 6 guys will do exactly the same. They will prepare in exactly the same way. They're probably staying in exactly the same places as when they won. We're not difficult to work out, dart players. We are pretty repetitive.
Right, let's show you the table at the end of this evening's action just to dot the I's and cross the T's. Steve West, top of it on 10 points, along with Tom Sykes and Marvin van Velzen. They were the 3 that were in those positions coming into tonight. Just a quick question on this, Paul, because have we seen, even though Friday is indeed deadline day, have we seen in both groups the importance of actually doing well on Thursday? Because we've seen the players in the provisional places carry that through in the end.
Yes, we have. And I've got to applaud those people because I hammer the drum for there's no defence in darts all the time. But the fact remains that Coulson, Van Schie and the 3 from tonight defended their positions. I think maybe the only person who was feeling slightly deflated tonight is Marvin, because he was within 1 leg of winning the group as opposed to being in 3rd. It just so happens that I don't think it changes his position in groups when it comes to Saturday night anyway. It just changes the amount of recompense that he gets for where he finished in the group.
Yeah, well, we're going to show you those groups. First of all, here is the lineup for finals night on Saturday. So Connor Scott, who won Group A earlier in the week, Tom Sykes, Marvin van Velzen and Steve West, who you've seen qualify this evening, and Derek Coulson and Jimmy Van Schie, who made it this afternoon. And here, for the first time, are the groups for Champions Night. Connor Scott, Tom Sykes, Jimmy Van Schie, wow. Steve West, Derek Coulson and Marvin van Velzen in Group 2. Initial thoughts first from you, Scott.
Group 1, loaded. That's the thing that I look at there and think, whew, I don't even want to be marking that group.
Paul?
Group 1, 9-dart shootout, please. That would be fun. But I think Marvin is going to be very happy with his group. I think he'll be happy to play against Derek. Judging by his results against West the last couple of nights, I think he'll be happy with that. So watch out for Marvin.
We have never had a 9-dart shootout on a Champions Night. We've never had a 9-dart finish on any Saturday night. It's been one of those weeks where we've seen really high standards in odd games. There's been full days where it's been a fantastic standard. And we've had darting drama. Do you think we're going to get the finale we deserve?
I see no reason why not. I think we've got guys here that are going to really push one another. They're going to respond to good play. They're not going to run away. And that's when you get those sorts of things happening, isn't it? So, hey, look, the 6 we've got here, why not? Why on earth not?
Sykes against Scott. That is a fixture. We talked earlier in the week with yourself, Henry, and with Scott over the last couple of days. That is a fixture that has been going on for the last few weeks. Challenge Tour here at the Super Series as well. We don't know what the final's going to be. Whatever the mix is, there's going to be a story. But I'm just so glad that we've got enough time to talk about everything in the lead up, because there's so much expectation on everybody's shoulders. When it comes to Connor, he just can't wait to get back here. If you opened the door right now, Connor would want to come in and practice for the next 16 hours. But he's going to have to wait.
Certainly is. Right. Final thing to do tonight. And I want a 2-word or possibly 3-word answer from each of you. Who wins it? Who takes the title?
I'm going to stick with Tom Sykes, I am.
Bit more than 2 or 3 words, but go on.
Connor Scott Still.
There we go. They have spoken. Thank you for your company this week. We will do it all again tomorrow. It is indeed Champions Night coming your way. It gets underway from 7:30 p.m. UK time, live here on the Modus Super Series YouTube channel. Make sure you are subscribed. You've clicked that notification bell, because this is going to be unmissable.